Yo, what is going on, Papa Fam? Welcome back to another video. Today, we've got something huge for you guys. I'm touching on all the latest tech, all the most beautiful stuff that you guys might be hearing about. And we're diving into today's SEO report generating marketing SaaS. A full-blown SaaS, guys, with crazy amount of stuff. We've got web scraping, we've got all of that amazing AI stuff that you guys are loving right now. Go ahead and get ready. When that beat drops, let me know where you're watching from right now. If you're watching the video of this, check out the timestamps, skip to where you want to skip to. We're going to dive into a demo of the beautiful SEO report AI generation SaaS application. It's a mouthful. Get ready, guys. We got Kenya in the house. I see you guys. All right, check it out, guys. SEO reports. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Boom. Here we have it, guys. A beautiful app, BrightData, powered by BrightData and OpenAI. New headphones as well. Who this? You see it? Look at this. So guys, you guys can see right here, we've got payment plans. We've got full support for light and dark mode. Really, really nice stuff. Feel free to customize it as you wish. You guys can see this app is powered by some cool tech. We're going to dive into a demo straight away. We're not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and see. Well, in the starter plan, we're going to have unlimited scraping. In the pro plan, we're going to have everything in the starter, but we're going to have the ability to chat with the AI, right? So let's go ahead and do, you know what? I'm going to subscribe to pro because I want to do that. Actually, you know what? Let's start as a starter. I'm going to show you right now. Start as a starter. I'm going to start my 7-day free trial. And you can see that was before I actually carry on. I want to jump over, don't want to jump over that. You guys can see here, look, we can go build annually. All of this is coming through Clerk Billing. So we're covering Clerk Billing as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the starter right now. I'm going to pay for it. So let's go ahead and log into my account. I'm going to log into this right here. And you know what? Let me go ahead and quickly log in. So I'm going to quickly log in right now. And I'm in. So let's go ahead and do this. Click on continue. And let's see, guys. Once we're in, we're going to be sent to a billing screen. Of course, it asks on a live stream if I'm human. There we go. All right, let's do the start 7-day trial. As you can see here, I've got a development card as well. Let's go ahead and pay with my dev card. Boom. Trial has successfully started. We should be thrown over to the dashboard now. Let's go forward. There we go, guys. We've got our dashboard, and you can see I've got a fresh profile here. Now, I'm going to run it through on a fresh profile. But I want to show you, obviously that was Clerk Billing. I want to show you an account which is fully populated. So let's go to my account where I've already got, and you see modals with Clerk Authentication, beautiful stuff. Let's log into my other account where I've done a couple of generations, and then we're going to generate some on that account. And I am a pro on that account. Let's click generate my reports. Oh no, was it this account? Or did I think I've jumped around a lot lately, guys. So let's do Papa Reactive team. I believe it's this account. Let's go ahead and jump in. Here we go. Here we are. Yeah, we got some reports. There you go. So I'm going to trigger a report right now. Now, what is an SEO report? Effectively, search engine optimization report. How you go ahead and get seen around the internet. You know, what can we do to optimize that reach? So that is effectively what we're building here. We've built a SaaS aimed at the marketing people. So in this case, it's going to be a very useful SaaS to go ahead and build and deploy. So you guys stay tuned, and I'm giving all of the code for absolutely free. Let's go ahead and type in, for example, Sonny, Sangha. And I've already done a report on myself, but you can even do based on country as well. I'm just going to do a US report, and I'm going to generate the report right here. You can see that will go ahead and spin up a reporting round. Now, this is doing so much cool stuff in the background. I promise you, it's incredible what this is doing. Firstly, it's going ahead and scraping data from our lovely friends over at BrightData. So this is what we're going to be using today to go ahead and scrape data. Now, today, we are going to be specifically, we built this app around AI search. Now, what I want to mention is a lot of those search trends are now moving towards people using answer engines like Perplexity or GPT instead of Google. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you were actually Googling? When you think about it, I was actually using GPT, Perplexity, these kind of things a lot more than I've been using Google nowadays. So that's why I built this SaaS to provide modern insight for SEO. So what it's effectively doing is we're going to use BrightData's APIs to go ahead and actually, let me keep the app open right now on this side. So I'm going to keep the app here. We're going to use BrightData's APIs to go ahead and actually scrape answer engines such as Perplexity. Okay, so that's going to be really powerful. And this kind of search is known as generative engine optimization. So effectively, we're using generative, what's it called, text. So in this case, if I go to Perplexity, you can see this is an example of an answer engine, right? Perplexity is literally going to go search the internet, give me loads of different, insights into what I'm looking for. It's really powerful stuff. Okay, we're going to scrape that using BrightData. So it's going to be really powerful. Okay, now it's worth mentioning BrightData also have amazing APIs such as their SERP API, which allows you to also go ahead and scrape things like Google. So you can go ahead and literally take this build. I'm literally giving you the formula to take this build, add the SERP API if you want to, and then have it even do Perplexity's data sources, Google's data sources. You can do whatever you want. Like, you can take this so far. It's so cool. Okay, so as you can see, that one is scraping. Now it just finished its scrape and it's going ahead and analyzing. So once it's scraped, it will analyze using GPT, which is awesome. But once it's done, let's look at an example of a report. Here I have a report of Mr. Beast. We're going to go ahead and view it and look at this. Firstly, creme de la creme of UIs, right? This is super clean, super nice. Oh, you can see a little bubble over here. That's quite cool, quite nice, right? But you guys can see right here, this has all been generated from scraping and then going ahead and passing it over to GPT. And then we're even outputting it using Zod to make sure that we get the guaranteed schema and the shape of data that we want. And that's how I'm able to predictively go ahead and do this every time. We can see the competitors of Mr. Beast. We can see the top 10 sources of Mr. Beast, the different source type of distribution. We can see actionable recommendations. We can see content keywords, keyword themes, some critical issues, key strengths, some quick wins, some content analysis, and his overall sentiment. Okay, let's look at another one, right? Because that's not enough. We should be showing a few of these powerful stuff, right? Let's go ahead and see, for example, my one. Okay, interesting. I actually didn't check this one, so let's have a look. So it's giving me an 85. Interesting. We've got some unique domains. It's found a couple of compares, keywords. You can see source types. It's got official, professional, and social media. So a third split of where my data is at the moment, right? And you can see actionable insights, enhance my educational content. I am trying to do that right now. Okay, so in this case, very good insight, but you can see the impact is high and the effort is medium. I'd say the effort is pretty high, but it's okay. We've got the keyword themes and we've got my overall sentiment as being positive. Thank God. That's good. Okay. Well, quick wins, some key strengths and some backlinks. Let's do something else. I didn't just limit it to business product and I didn't just limit it to the name. You can also do businesses, products, websites, and so forth. You can see that actually completed. So that would have generated a separate report. Each time it's scraping relevant new data. So it could give me a slightly different one. This time it gave me a bit more competition. You guys can see it even gave me a bit more data. So every time it shows you, it's actually scanning fresh content. So I ran that other one before. You can see that it's picked up my school community. This is actually a link to my school community as well. Now let's go ahead and see. If we click on, for example, youtube.com, let's check the report of YouTube. Boom. Amazing stuff. Now also want to highlight everything, of course, is mobile responsive. I don't do half measures. This is beautiful, looks nice across the board. Now we took it a step further for the pro members. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate something. If you're not a pro member, we're going to basically go ahead and show you an upsell. Now what does an upsell basically mean? It means that if you're not a pro member, we're going to say, okay, if you upgrade to pro, you can chat to this document. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate an example of that right now. Let's say I wasn't a pro member. So I've gone ahead and just simulated on the back end on a separate screen. As I scroll down, we've got the AI SEO assistant. And you can click on upgrade to pro. It takes me to the pricing page where I can go ahead and upgrade to pro. And then I'll become a pro. Okay, so I've just done a little toggle on the back end right now. But this is actually working. So if I go ahead and put it back to working, what we'll see is this will now be active in the corner. So now if I upgraded to pro, you guys can see, boom, I am now a pro. That works full working. It's incredible, guys. Okay, now let's go ahead and chat to this. And I want to chat to it about myself. So I don't want to chat to it about YouTube. I want to chat to it about myself. Let's see. Okay, view a full report. It's giving me 85 on my SEO ranking. Okay, so why is my score 85? Okay, AI is thinking. This is using Vercel AI's SDK. The overall score of 85 reflects various factors: backlink profile, social presence, content and keywords, and competitor analysis. And it's given me a couple of recommendations. So let's look at one of the recommendations: enhance YouTube SEO. Optimize video description with targeted keywords like app development and coding tutorials. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, find me the best channels on YouTube with content around this and suggest some more recommendations. I don't even need to spell it, right? More recommendations based on this report. Now, bear in mind this agent, and yes, I said an AI agent because it has tools to be able to go and search the web. So you're going to see right now, it has the context of this entire report, and it can even go ahead and search the web. So you can see AI is thinking, and then let's go ahead and see what it does. There you go, guys. It's searching the web, finished its web search, and pow. Look at that. It's even given us a bunch of, this is really amazing. So imagine the value you can go ahead and provide for a actual marketing company now. So in this case, look, Traversing Media, Free Code Camp. It's giving me a lot of the links to go ahead and go to these guys. I guess it's pulling this from probably a, yeah, this is kind of, these are probably, I don't want to click that unless it opens up into something else, but these are probably like some kind of review sites. You guys can see it for yourself here. If you're enjoying tutorials or project builds, collaborations. That's an awesome one, right? So you guys can see this is actually good advice. So it's actually giving me true good advice. This is awesome, right? And you can see that thematic playlist for increased visibility, Swift app clones with Sonny, Kotlin, Android projects. Summary gives me a nice summary. And look at the markdown. Beautiful. I'm going to show you how to do everything here, right? And you can see it gives me a full go ahead. This is awesome, guys. I can even ask questions about all of this. I can go ahead and say, if there's keywords, what keywords are there? Just to show you that it's connected. What keywords are there, right? Now what we'll see is it should say Sonny, Sangha, and Papa Fam. There you go, guys. Gives me even a bit more of a breakdown. And look at that, guys. Absolutely giving it really, really nicely. I've gone ahead and just scrolled up as it was doing it, so I bugged it out a bit. But as you can see now, boom, gives me insights. This is a true SaaS, guys. Imagine that just by putting in your name. So in this case, you can go ahead and put a name, a product, a business, whatever it is. It will go ahead and give you the real-time data analysis on the complete tool. This is cool, right? So go ahead and let me know who's building along with me right now, because we're going to dive into this entire build and you're going to get this whole thing working. And I've hooked you guys up. You're going to get free credits with BrightData. So you're going to be able to do the exact thing that we're doing today. We've got you hooked up at Clerk. Everything is going to be done as well. Can the SEO report be exported to a PDF? You know what? That's a very good question. Right now we don't, but it's a very easy thing to do. This could easily be exported to a PDF. So I've even included it as a README inside of the documentation. So in the GitHub repo. So all you need to do if you want to get this entire code base is go ahead and follow along with this build, right? Feel free to literally follow along as I do it and make sure you fill out the form in the description. You'll get this form. Once you do this, we'll go ahead and we'll send you a link to the GitHub repo and we'll give you access to everything on this page, right? So you'll get access to all of the code right here. Now, when you do follow the steps today, and yeah, I'm a developer. I start from counting at 0, right? Follow all of the steps. Don't half follow it, right? It's a really, really important thing. I want you guys to get the most value from this. So all I ask is, number one, smash that like button if you're watching this right now, because it took me a tremendous amount of work to get this done. Right, smash the like button and use the links over here. Every single one, you're gonna get perks to signing up with us. Clerk, I've got you a little surprise in there. BrightData, $20 of free credit. Convex, go through our link, and same with OpenAI. Our friends, thank you to our friends over at Clerk and BrightData for hooking us up today. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and dive straight into this. Now, remember, you saw I was using a bunch of authentication things today. How are we powering it? We're using Clerk Authentication. If you guys don't know about Clerk, I don't know, you're living under a rock in my opinion. I've been using them for ages. They are incredible. They have some pixel perfect UIs embeddable in minutes. It's so easy. And my favorite is that they're tackling billing now. It's so cool, right? Tackling billing. You guys can see for yourself. Look at this. Absolutely incredible stuff. And what I love so much about them is a lot of the time, some of you want to build these for, you know, personal projects, in which case they've actually set something up where the Stripe account, you don't need to go through the full Stripe flow. You can actually use the Clerk development account, which is enough for a test portfolio project. And then of course, when you're ready, you can promote that to a production, connect your Stripe, and everything is golden, right? You can do all of that super easily. We've got protect blocks for components to make sure that you have the feature on the plan, or to make sure that you're on the pro plan, for example. And then we've got these beautiful functional approaches if you want to do it server side or whatnot, right? So much stuff to going for them. You guys can see for yourselves. If you're wondering about cost and everything, they're literally matching, if not better than everyone else in the space right now. And you can go ahead and integrate it with our favorite tech stacks, okay? And you guys can see for yourself, they have a bunch of other things inside, right? Now, I am amazing friends with these guys, and I can tell you that they have some amazing features coming along the way. And I'm personally very excited about these, and you guys can definitely wait and see. I will be dropping videos on all of these when they come out. I absolutely love the stuff they're doing. On top of that, they have all of their greatness out there. You know, you have your multi-factor, your email passwords, your magic links, bot detection, advanced security, the lot. Okay, so this is all going to be powering our authentication today. We're going to have Convex powering the backend. I'm going to run through that obviously as we jump into it, and it's going to be a damn cool time, right? Now, again, jumping over to BrightData, what you might have been a bit confused as I kind of jumped into that, but I'm going to show you how BrightData works, why they're an award-winning proxy network is just game changer. They have very powerful web scrapers. They get past a lot of these bot detecting services and all this kind of stuff. And the best part about it, they turn website data into structured data. That is the only way that I'm able to predictably use it, right? So that's why it's so important. They're compliant in all the ways that you would need. And it's just something that I personally recommend. We've worked with them before, but it's truly something which I would say I've used them over and over again, and I will come back. That's all I'm going to say. I will come back, right? If you go to the web scrapers, you'll see we're actually using their Perplexity search, which is game changer. It goes ahead and we're using the scraper API. So it's going to be searching by prompt and then scraping the site. And it's worth mentioning. Remember, I told you guys, if you wanted to take it that step further, you can even go ahead and check out their SERP API. So here you can see their most popular scraping solutions. The SERP API is what I recommend. After you do this build, go to this link inside of your dashboard. Once you sign up, click on get started and start adding in the Google on the search engine data as well. You're going to make a seriously powerful search engine optimized, SERP intelligence optimized SEO marketing tool. I can promise you that it's incredibly powerful. And what I love is they even have some really cool logging as well. So we're going to build a ton of stuff. I have so much stuff in this build that I haven't usually done in videos. If we go to the logs, let me go ahead and see the demo goes love me, obviously. As you can see here, we've got that. You can actually see when each run is running, and we're delivering by webhooks, right? Now, webhooks are something which I cover in some videos, but I don't tend to cover in such depth. I'm going to show you how to have cloud functions that literally will run on our backend. So you can see here, we've got a post endpoint, and this is going to serve as an active dynamic webhook. Now, I'm going to blow your mind with this trick that I've learned from Convex. It is so good. It is. I will never go back to using ngrok ever again if I can use this Convex trick again, right? So, and we're not even sponsored by Convex. I just bloody liked what they did there, right? So we're going to show you webhooks. We're going to have all of that golden stuff in there. So let's go ahead and jump straight into our tech stack, right? So obviously all of the code is available. So remember, you just need to go to the form in the description, hit your email and your phone name, and we will give you the code. No questions, right? I'm going to go ahead and put an easel out now. So let's go ahead and do this easel. And we have let's go ahead and jump through some of the tech stacks. So we've got the tech stack right here. Now, what tech stack are we covering today, right? So obviously this is going to be up afterwards. So all of you who are wondering, can I follow along afterwards with Sonny? Yes, you absolutely can, right? We've got Next.js 15, of course. That means we're going to be using TypeScript as well. So we've got TypeScript in the building as well. We're going to be using ShadCN for the beautiful UI components because I love it. We've got Vercel AI SDK, which is absolutely awesome for contacting, AI services, which is obviously going to have OpenAI inside of it, right? We've got BrightData powering our search. So this is going to be scraping effectively in this build, Perplexity. So this is going to give us that generative, I actually forget the term. It's actually a very popular term up and coming. Generative engine optimization, which means effectively, if everyone is searching more and more towards, using these answer engines, then we should also be using them to effectively give us modern SEO reports, okay? Which reflect on those results, what people are searching for. So BrightData is what we're going to be using to scrape that. Then we're going to pass that data to our OpenAI Vercel AI SDK to generate a full-blown report. Now we have Convex to store all of our data. So we've got loads of stuff happening. And now it's worth mentioning, Convex is also real time. So there's loads of stuff going on there. I am covering webhooks today as well. So yeah, your boy's doing that. And something I haven't done in previous builds, right? We are going to talk about the MCP. So BrightData has an incredible MCP, right? They have a very, very good MCP. It's super easy to use. You can even check it out once you're on the platform. Simply go to MCP, and it's literally instructions are here on how to add it. I use Cursor, so you can go into Cursor, literally go ahead and follow this, and you'll get access to all the tools. It's that simple to go ahead and access and the MCP. The MCP is really powerful because it goes ahead and provides effectively our cursor agent or our IDE agent a way of doing things such as searching, crawling, and all these other things. It gives it access. It's able to navigate within and interact with dynamic content. It's just damn powerful, and it allows us to do so much more with our regular, composer tool or agent inside of our IDE. It's basically giving it a bunch of tools, right? So that is what effectively the MCP is doing, and they have a pretty damn good one, right? So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that today. In addition to all of that, if that wasn't enough, we are going to be covering Clerk. So we have Clerk for the authentication. Now Clerk is handling auth and billing. Okay, so they're handling the auth and they're handling the billing. And behind this is our friend Stripe. But don't worry if you can't create a Stripe account, because Clerk Billing gives you a new way of doing this. So if you couldn't create a Stripe account in the past and you wondered, Sonny, I can't follow this tutorial because I can't do that, because maybe I live in a country where it's not supported, don't worry, Clerk have fixed that problem as well, which is, this is what I'm talking about. It's too cool, right, to be able to do it. They've made it so easy for you guys to do it. You can just click a button and that's it. Your backend test Stripe development account is already connected to Clerk's. It's awesome, right? So we have all of that to look forward to, right? And obviously with Shad CN, we are going to be using Tailwind, right? So this is obviously then leading us to Tailwind CSS. Sorry about the color. You can't really see that very well, but Tailwind CSS, okay? Now, all of this is going to be taught today, and it's going to be fully ready to go ahead and build an entire SaaS platform, okay? So you can make a SaaS platform which makes you money, which can give you something called MRR, monthly recurring revenue. And that just means, in short, money. So you can go ahead and make money every single month using this, okay? So let me know if you're excited. Smash that thumbs up button. I deserve a water break before we jump in. So it's going to be a pretty awesome build. You guys can see for yourselves. This is going to be our starting point. Now, quickly before we do this, I also want to mention, now, in previous builds, I tend to not talk about, vibe coding and these sort of things. Now, the reality is I think it's important to talk about, because some people are jumping on this vibe coding trend and they have no idea what they're doing and they're just building crap. Sorry, facts, right? So when you're using something like Cursor or something like that, it can be a valuable tool if you know what you're doing. Do I use vibe coding tools? I don't use the lovables and this kind of stuff, but yeah, do I integrate AI assisted coding in my workflow? Yes, I do. So what do I recommend we do today? Well, I've given you all of the code. So you've literally got the code in the description down below. So what I want you to do is build along with me, but do it in a new way. And I'm going to try and integrate this pattern in my channel now, where I'll give you the code, but we're going to be building it. And for the areas such as landing page or this and that, we're going to go through all of the functional stuff together, layer by layer on the code base. But for the presentational things, we don't have to sit there and enter it line by line. I'm going to show you how we can do it faster, more slick, more easy using things like Cursor. So we're going to have this nice kind of next-gen developer experience now, okay? And if any of this sounds too complicated or too confusing, then I highly recommend, before we jump in, you check out our amazing community over at Zero to Full Stack Hero 2.0. It's over at purplereact.com. We have something incredible coming soon. That's all I'm going to say. You can go ahead and check out for yourself. But all I'm going to say is, if you thought that this was, this was already good, we have so much happening within the next few weeks, which is going to mean it's going to be more accessible to more students. It's going to be much bigger than it's ever been before. And it's getting a nice little, it's just, watch this space. Go check it out, purplereact.com. Join while you can. It's going to be a guarantee. I promise you it'll be worth it. And of course, I'm in there coaching calls every single week, teaching you guys all of this amazing tech before we get into it. Okay. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this build. Now we can start in many different locations. I'm going to start with a basic app. I think that's the easiest way to go ahead and get started. So this is what we're going to do. Let's jump into it. And I'm going to do it in a way where we can just take our time today. We've got quite a lot to build. So I'm going to keep this open on the side, and I'm going to spin up our app on a different terminal. Now I'm going to open up Warp, and it's quite funny because last time I had a terminal open, everyone was killing me over having a white terminal, which I didn't even realize, to be honest. I just opened this up. So I've changed it to black so you guys won't slaughter me in the comments, right? Because yeah, that's what happens. Okay, so I'm in my documents folder. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the following command, right? npx create next app. And as you can see, I've got loads of demos here, but what I want you to do is npx create next app. And then I'm using the Warp terminal here. You can use whatever you want. I also shot a video about the Amazon Q, which is very cool as well. All right, so you can go ahead now and type in. We're going to type in BrightData SEO Marketing SaaS. Okay, let's go ahead and hit that. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to prompt you to install. Now, you can use npx. I just realized I do typically use pnpm now, but it's fine. We can proceed. I'll show you how to switch. Leave all of the defaults. We're happy with that. That's all good. And then in a second, this will go ahead and spin up. And we are going to be using Cursor today. So you can install Cursor for free on their website. I have a paid plan on Cursor, $20 a month. Guys, if you want to be a pro dev, I'm not saying you need Cursor. I'm just saying it's $20. It's not that bad, right? Just go ahead and if you want to do it alongside, you don't have to have it, but I pay for it, right? And this is what I teach a lot of my students. Reinvest in your craft. Period. I put so much money back into the business. It's crazy, right? So this is going to go ahead and do its thing. This is why I should have used PMPX. Would have been nicer, or PMPM DLX, whatever it's called. But let's go ahead and let that do its thing, right? In the meantime, I want you to go over here now, right? We're going to CD into BrightData SEO Marketing, and then I'm going to go ahead and type in cursor dot, right? Or you can open up Cursor and just click on open folder, and then it'll pop up accordingly. So once we have this open, what I want to do is I'm going to actually stop my other app because I want to run that separately to this. And what I want to do here is let's go ahead and do the following. Let me know if it's too small, if it's too big or whatnot, right? So in this case, I'm going to do pnpm dev. And as you can see, I've got a package lock. So before I do anything, I'm going to remove my package lock. I'm going to do pnpm I. Right, and I'm going to resolve on pnpm instead because it's just better. I should have done that in the beginning, but it was a bad habit. Right, so let that do its thing. We've got a few people in the house. Also, I forgot to mention, right, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. I didn't actually shout everyone out, but I see a lot of you. John Gill goes, this book build looks amazing. I'll have to watch it later as I'm so busy revolutionizing our booking apps and now React projects due to you. I appreciate you. We've got Australia in the house as well. What is good, guys? We've got Sri Lanka as well. This is awesome. Right, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from right now. We've got literally over 200 people watching live right now, so I appreciate all of you. pnpm dev to go ahead and spin up our app. And there we go. Let that run. Now that's on 3000. What I'm going to do is set ourselves up. So I'm going to create another, there we go, localhost, pop that on the side. And there we go. This is our starting point. So what I want you to first do is we're going to have a little bit of a reset. So I want you to go in here and just pretty much grab the whole lot, the whole div, get rid of it, type in div. I'm just going to type in hello world. Okay. Get rid of all of that. And there we have it. That's our starting point, right? We've got South Africa, Albania, Kenya. What's up, guys? Good to see you all here. Let me know as well. What do you think of the music? So I think we should, I always like to do this, but I'm going to change up to Jay's. I like Jay's playlist. I hope he adds to it. You know, Jay, if you're watching it, I mean, he's obviously watching it, but update that, dude, because I actually use it quite a lot. Kaloyan says, awesome content as always, greeting from Bulgaria. And we got Pakistan in the house. What's up? UK, Canada, and the other chat. Awesome. All right. So, hello world. That's good. Next up, we're going to go ahead and set up a few of the essentials, right? So what I want to do is I'm just going to organize my desktop a bit nicer. There we go. Okay. So step one, I want to actually go ahead and set up my Clerk account. Now use the Clerk link in the description because it will give you a freebie. I'll go ahead and show you that afterwards. But in this case, let's click on dashboard and we go here. And then just go down here. Jay did update it. I knew it. He just messaged me. Nicola goes, greetings from Macedonia. Sonny, do you think we should really use vibe coding? Some days I feel like I don't write any code myself, except when cursor gets stuck. I've got 4 years of front-end experience. Good question, right? Here's my answer to vibe coding before we jump in a bit further. And again, this whole video is going to be timestamped, so don't worry, right? It's an amazing tool. Should you trust everything? I reject about 80% of what it gives me. Honestly, I reject about 80%. I'm not even talking crap. 80%, I reject it. But when it does do things right, because, you know, if you learn to prompt it in certain ways and you can have certain rules files and things like that, which I'll show you today, then you can get some pretty fast results. But I'm always tweaking it. It's not maybe, I am always tweaking it. And whatever it gives you, I do a full review and I understand all of the code before I even enter it into my code base. If you're not doing any of those, then don't vibe code. That is my honest advice, right? Because you will never know what is under the hood otherwise. So open up Clerk, go here. We're going to click on create application. Okay. Next up, we're going to go ahead and type in BrightData SEO SaaS. And let's go ahead and click on create application. Now that's step one. While that's doing this thing, I want you to go to web data platform. Well, this is the user. Go to the link in the description for BrightData. Click on get started for free, and then you will sign up. Okay, now I've already signed up, so I don't need to sign up again. So I'm going to go into our home. So you'll land on this page right here. So in this case, oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, that was me messing around, testing something. So in this case, I want to go to my proxies and scraping. Here we are. So you'll reach on the home, all your proxies and scraping. In this case, I want you to go ahead and go to your web scrapers. And we're going to create a new web scraper. So I want you to click on new, and then I want you to go ahead and do browse scrapers marketplace. But even before that, go to proxies and scrapers. The easiest way is go to, here you got the SERP API. You can use that one for the Google search as well. We're going to use Next.js SERP intelligence though. And as you can see, we've got the AI search domains. We're going to click on Perplexity. Pricing, do you have tutorials for beginners? Yes, I do. Inside of Zero to Full Stack Hero, go to papareact.com and join. All of it is beginner friendly. Okay. So here we have search by prompt. I'm going to click that. And then we got two options, a no code scraper or a scraper API. We're going to use the scraper API because, you know, we do this the real way, right? And welcome Philippines and India as well. Welcome to the chat, right? So as you can see here, we've got an example, an API request builder. You can see here, if we drop this down, you can also see some coding examples. So this is backend code node. And then as you can see, you can send the results to our webhook, which we're going to be doing. You can test the webhook, and we can also select a custom output schema, all of which we'll be doing. And then you've also got management APIs to monitor progress, a bunch of stuff. Now, this is also a very big tutorial because I'm going to be showing you how when you have certain situations, for example, if I was to send a fetch request using this API, what it's going to do is it's only going to give me back a snapshot ID of the job of scraping where it starts to scrape the data. So I'm going to show you how you can take scenarios like this, incorporate it into your own architecture, and then go ahead and do exactly what our goal is to do. Okay. And this way, in this case, build a real-time responsive app, which is listening to those events, updating it based on the information that comes back. And I also forgot to mention, we have an entire retry mechanism, which is top notch. And I'm going to show you how we do all of that. Okay. So now we've got BrightData set up. We've got Clerk set up as well. Let's next go to, in this case, let's go to here. Well, we'll set this up in a moment, but the final step is Convex. Okay. So I want you to go ahead and jump into your code and do npm create convex. Now I'm not going to do npm create convex. I'm instead going to do separate this terminal on the side. I'm going to do p npm create convex. Okay, I think it might, yeah, there you go. And now you can see what project name. In this case, I can just call it BrightData YouTube SEO SaaS. Okay, and then you can see which client. Let's do Next.js app router. We're using Clerk because they have a beautiful integration with Clerk. Okay. So Convex is with Clerk, setting things up. And as you can see, it's added the latest cursor rules to our project. Very important stuff, right? So in this case, you can see it over here. Did it do it? I don't think it did. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's set up. Oh no. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, you could do that and it will set up an entire app with it. It will set up with the whole thing. Oh, okay. You could do that, really. And that'll give you the perfect Clerk provider as well. Oh, do you know what? We could do that. That's actually pretty damn good. Do you know what? Okay. I'm going to actually show you that because that's nice. I actually prefer that than what we did. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of this, and instead of what we did here, I'm going to create a whole nother project. So we're going to literally close this project and we're going to open up Warp. I'm going to create another project for a second because that's much nicer actually. Documents builds. All it did was literally install Clerk into it things, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go do the following. We'll say npm create convex or pm create convex, right? And I'll show you why I prefer this way. So let's do it again. BrightData, SEO, YouTube SaaS. That's our app name. Let's do Next.js app router, Clerk. It sets everything up, which is a lot faster than me doing it myself on stream. Nicola goes, thanks for your answer. It means a lot. I review a code thoroughly, but I use prompts to speed up refactoring until I'm confident while since doing it. Yes, refactoring as well. Remember, an agent in any capacity is only as good as the prompt that you give it. Okay. So in this case, let's go and get into the app. And then let's do cursor dot, like so. Okay. Now that we got that open, we got this. Let's pull it up. Okay. Now you can see, let's look at our new structure here. We've got the app, we've got page.tsx, we've got a server here for some other stuff. We don't actually need that, but it's what I would recommend is you go check it out, what it's doing. It's got some pretty good examples in there. We can get rid of the server layout. You can see we've got Clerk provider, and then we've got this Convex client provider mapping our stuff. Now this is important because what this is doing is it's actually going ahead and it's wrapping. It's basically creating a connection with Convex and our client, Convex and Clerk. Okay. You can see here's our page as well. Right now, this Convex client provider, if you click into it, it shows you it's just literally a higher order component. Now this ain't gonna work because we don't have an env file. So if you can see down in our terminal, if we were to do pm dev, let's go ahead and run that. You guys can see here that that's gonna run on 3000. Or before it even does, what they've done is they've actually combined two commands. They're running the front end and back end, which is Next.js, and then they're doing Convex dev, and they're doing it in parallel. So when you do that, it will run the project and it will run this. We're going to create a new project for Convex. This is my team, and we're going to do BrightData SEO YouTube SaaS. Okay. We're going to do a cloud deployment, and it's going to create a new Convex. Your account now has 2 projects remaining. Oh, lucky. Okay. Didn't know that. Let's do env local, and you can see it adds these 2 automatically, and it spins up a Convex dashboard for me as well. Okay. So let's let that do its thing. Now I've got so many accounts open, so I'm going to go ahead and close that one just in case. I'm going to show you myself. So in this case, we've got the Convex deployment, and it added that for us as well. Okay. So we've got our Convex and our Convex set up already. So let's log in over here. Let's log into the correct account. I'm just going to make sure I'm logged into that account. Yep. So I'm in. So, oh, we've got a nice link there. Jay, make sure you use that one because that gives us a few extra projects. There you go. So change the Convex link to that. So in this case, I've got this over here. Let's go into our project, and this is our project. Now I want you to do a couple of things before we carry on. Now this is Convex on the left, and on the right, I'm going to show you inside of Clerk. What I want you to do is go into Clerk and go to configure. We need to create a connection between these two. In order to do that, what I want you to do is go down here to JWT templates. Click on add new template. Go ahead and type in template, Convex, and then this, don't change anything after that. All you want to do is copy that bit there. Okay, click save. Now, that's important. This is known as your JWT issuer token. Okay, now what does that mean? Well, if we go back over here, you can see in the Convex folder, we have an auth config, and you can see here, Clerk JWT issuer domain. Now this, inside of Convex, these are actually potentially cloud functions that we're talking about. So the process.env is not looking at our env local. That one is looking at our Convex deployment. So here we set that environment variable. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in that and the value that we had over here. Let's paste that in like so. And then we save. And you can see I'm in my development instance. So when you change production, you also change these environment variables. Okay. Now that that's done, we can go back over here and we're good. So that's already saved. We can go back. You should see, did I not save it? Yeah, you see the Convex template. There you go. Okay. Next up, let's go to overview. And as you can see, we've got the installation instructions for Convex, Clerk, sorry. So we're going to install Clerk into our app. So firstly, we click Next.js, and then we're going to do pm command, and we're going to split terminal. And you can see right now I've got my app running plus Convex running. And then this add in our second, oh, what's this doing? So it's saying pm is installed, blah, blah, blah. What is this? Why am I here? What is this? Okay, the dependencies are you currently linked to install? Oh yeah, okay. So we've had some weird issue going on. So I'm going to delete my package lock. Let me make sure I've got the right terminal. And I'm doing pm. Actually, are we in the right folder even? Yeah, pm install. And then remove the install from, yes, let's do that. Interesting. Had a very weird situation there. Let's go ahead and rebuild this. While that's happening, I want you to go ahead and type in tailwind CSS. get this extension. Also get ES snippets one, ES7, type in ES7, get that snippet extension as well. Okay. Now that while that's installing, that on the other side we can also do git init, because for some reason it hasn't given us a branch there, right? So I'm going to get rid of that. Let's do clear. There you go. That looks a bit better. Then let's do is let that do its thing. And as you can see, that's done. We can now do pm dev. So in here we can do pm dev to run our app on the left terminal. Okay. And we're going to keep the right one free for whenever we need to install anything. Make sure it runs, and then Command B to open the sidebar, and you're good. So hit a refresh, and then right now this is still yet to spin up the app, so you can wait for that. And then here we got localhost 3000, and we should be able to reach our app. Here we are. So now it's saying Clerk publishable key, right? So what you want to do next is go down here, and you see it gives us environment variables. So you want to copy the environment variables, and then we're going to go to env.local, and then I'm going to pop them in. And what I like to do is keep it neat. So I like to keep it like this and call this one Convex. So Convex and Clerk. Now these are secret keys. Again, I'm going to know all my keys after. Don't use them, guys. Don't be a douchebag when you're watching this. But we've got somebody goes, why don't you use super basic? So I have nothing against it, but I absolutely love Convex for a reason. Wow, guys, we've got very strong viewer retention today. Please, if you're watching, destroy that like button. It helps this video so much, you have no idea. And people just are doing it less and less nowadays. So destroy that like button and help the channel grow. Get the algorithm to play fair again. You'll see loads of YouTubers are saying the exact same thing. It's very frustrating. Okay, so we have our app running, and you see that keyless message has now disappeared. Lovely. Okay. Then what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do a bit of a reset. I don't like any of this. Get rid of all of this and get rid of the sign-in form, all of this, to be honest. Get rid of everything underneath here. Get rid of all of it. Okay. And all of that. Okay. And then here, just do div, and just type in again, hello world. And that should be in a p tag. So p tag, hello world, or h1, whatever you want to do. Okay. But that is where we're starting at now. Cool. So now we have things connected the way we needed them. Okay. And we've got Tailwind CSS, or everything installed the way we needed. So after that, you've got this Clerk middleware step, which, because we use that nice little, what's it called? A Convex starter. We basically skipped that for us. So all I want to do here is I just want to by default make anything ahead of dashboard go ahead and be protected by default. Okay. So I believe it was this one. But yeah, no, actually it's not that. It's this dashboard, and then anything after it is basically this. If I try and access that and I'm not logged in, it will push me to my Clerk logged in screen. So this is our middleware, and that's going to be doing that for us. Now we've done the Clerk provider, we've added in all of our Clerk stuff. It already did that for us, and boom, there we have it, right? Everything is set up. Now, in order to enable billing for our app, how do we do that? Well, in that case, what we got to do is go down to billing settings. And this is the holy grail, guys. This one will blow your damn mind. Look at this. Set up Clerk billing. Now, typically when we create billing plans, it's Stripe. We have to set up. We have to do all of our subscription management. We have to do webhooks. We have to do a Stripe checkout. We have to do all this cool stuff, which is still very good. I mean, shout out to Stripe. I like them. Right? But Clerk made it Clerk just said, screw this. We're going to make this thing so easy. And what they did is they came here and they clicked on, and they basically made this interface, right? Now you click on create a plan, and watch how easy this is to do, right? Firstly, we start with a free plan. Cool, right? We have two plans in our app. We have starter and we have pro. So in this case, we've got starter. Okay, nice. Description. Let's make this one capital S. Let's say this is the starter plan. This is the starter plan for all. Okay. And then this one, let's say it was $19.99. And then let's say if you paid yearly, let's go ahead and give it for $13.99. So you'll be billed $167.88 a year, right? Let's give a free trial, 7 days. And we want that one available on our special components, which I haven't spoken about yet. Okay. Now on our app, the starter will essentially get access to everything, because our app is only going to have paid plans. So you either have, you're going to get access to everything. Okay. So in this case, we're not going to add a feature tag here. That's our first plan done. Let's go to the free one. And we're going to do publicly available no. So let's click save. So we don't want to show a free plan. So now what have we done? We say the free plan is hidden. We have a starter plan. And let's do another one. Let's do a pro plan. So in this case, pro. And let's say the serious plan for creatives or for marketers, right? Marketers. Monthly base fee, $49.99. And let's do a discount on the base, on the big one, a bit more, $49.99. So that way they pay $500 a year. They get access to pro, right? Free trial, 7 days. Publicly available, yes, save. Okay, nice. Now features, you can do a few things here. Okay, you can go ahead and do, for example, you can have like AI chat, and then you can say this enables the, or this enables the AI chat, for example, AI chat. And you can see, look, we've got pricing table, user profile, organization profile. All of these things can show all this information. But in this case, we're just going to say this enables the AI chat with SEO reports. Okay. Now we can do it this way. I'm going to show you an even easier way, but I'm just going to show you how you can go ahead and do this as well. All right. So create. Matthew goes, always amazing to be in the space. I appreciate you guys. You guys are so awesome, honestly. Oh, whoa. Why am I turning orange in the background? Okay, 1 minute. I need to fix that. Let me go ahead and do it. There we go. Oh, fixed. Jay, you're supposed to be watching that. I almost looked like I had some craziness going on. Yeah, we fixed it. There you go. I just looked at myself in the corner. I was like, what the hell's going on there? All right, so we've got AI chat. I'm going to show you an even easier way where you can just do based on the plan that you're on. Okay. So if you're using this, then yes, you don't have to use Stripe payments because this will be doing it under the hood. Now, here's the golden bit. We have our two plans. We have starter and pro, and then we're going to click on enable billing. Okay. Now here's the holy grail of what I absolutely love. Well, firstly, it just did that, right? So super quick. But where was it? It was, so that firstly billing is enabled. So now you can just add a pricing table to your component and voila, you have it, right? But I want to show you here. This is the true incredible part. This, if you go to billing settings and you see in the payment gateway, Clerk payment gateway, zero config payment gateway, ready to process test payments immediately. Anyone who has done Stripe before will know that that still will save you a lot of headache and hassle just by doing that one step, right? Just by having that one additional thing, it will save you so much headache because you don't have to do all of that test stuff, right? Which just takes a long while, right? So this makes it so simple. Nicola as well goes, wow, this is making everything way simpler. Jay, screenshot that. I want to show the team over at Clerk, right? So you guys can see here. And also once you're ready, you can just go ahead and connect your Stripe account. So for now, that's fine. We can just do that. And do you want to see how easy this really is? Blew my mind the first time I saw it. Okay. Let's add a pricing page to our app. How do we do that? Well, simple. Inside of our app, we go ahead and let's do a / pricing route. Let's open a page.tsx component RFCE as the snippets that we installed. And let's call this one the pricing page. Cool. Now, this pricing page, what I'm going to show you right now is going to absolutely blow your mind because all you have to do, guys, is import the pricing table. And before I even hit save, I want to just show you the craziness of this. / pricing, let's do. We have pricing page, right? So I haven't done it yet. And obviously, what I want to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and put the pricing page inside. And I'm going to even do, after we subscribe, so let's do pricing table, sorry. Pricing table. And here I'm going to do new subscription. After we do that, we're going to push them to the dashboard. And yeah, that's good. I think we're good with that. Hit save. Guys, look at that. I mean, come on. Just look at that. That is incredible. Right? And you can see I named it AI chat here, right? But obviously you can name it whatever you want. But you can literally just put in all the features. So you see how before I just put no feature in the starter? What you can do here is obviously list all of the features individually. And then you can go ahead and show that this one also has this, but and something else as well. So that is how effectively you do it. Then if you toggle this right here, you can see it goes ahead and changes. Now, already, just by doing that, if I click on start 7-day free trial, it'll firstly try and log me in, which Clerk, again, OG's for because they'll power it up. Let's go ahead and do sunny.sangha@gmail.com. Continue. Again, will blow your mind in a second. This is crazy how easy this is to do payments in a SaaS. Like next level stuff. Click on start 7-day free trial. Boom, we got a lovely little checkout. And they've even given us this little nice little, how generous of them, right? We got this pay with test card. We click that, bang, I'm a pro member, right? Ignore this right now. This is me doing some stuff on mine. Oh, that's actually not auth provider matching the given token. Oh, yes, don't ignore that. My bad. So right here, we got Convex auth config. I forgot to do one step. So what you want to do is go to your auth config. And remember when we added that, I forgot to uncomment this, right? So it's not using the Clerk issuer JWT domain. So now if you hit a refresh, that will be what you should have. Yeah, you need to do that. Yeah. Start 7-day free trial. And let's actually do a starter package first. Pay with test card. And I'm doing annual. Boom. Just like that, I issued a payment. Go ahead and click continue. It throws me to the dashboard screen. That's /dashboard. Just that simple. Now let's check it out. Let's go to subscriptions and you can see Sonny is on a free trial right now. So if I go, obviously when he goes to his 7 days, then bam, he's going to get billed. I can see information about this customer. I can see the payment method. I can see all of that stuff. Absolute game changer, right? That is so slick. We even got access to the users. So what Clerk are trying to do effectively is take over on this front. And I am here for it because it is awesome. Where they also do it for B2B businesses. That is so powerful and so cool. Yeah, you guys can see for yourself the absolute power of this. Now, obviously, you know Clerk really well by now. You can go ahead and absolutely, mess around with different authentication methods, passkeys. We've covered a bunch of different ones right now, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into the build a bit so we can actually start building this thing out. So I'm going to pop this over here for now. And then let's firstly start off with our homepage. That's the first thing that makes sense. Let's go over to our homepage. Hello world, it says right now. This obviously looks ugly. Let's go to / page. So I'm going to do Command P is what I did there, by the way. And I start typing in and then it takes me to that page. Okay. We also have the components folder where we have Convex client providers. Now, obviously inside of this beautiful looking app, which you will see over here, I'm going to keep a demo open on this side over here. What you'll see is if I go to localhost 3001, is the app running? Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we should see this. Okay. So I want to build this, obviously. Now, a lot of these buttons, things like this, right? We are, if you know me on the channel, you'll know that I'm a big fan of ShadCN. So we're going to go to ShadCN. I've got a few different versions. Yeah, so this one, ui.shadcn.com. And we're going to go and get started, right? Not get started. Docs. Yeah. Installation, Next.js, PAM. This one, right? Grab that command. We're going to pop it in. Now, ShadCN is a awesome, effectively, I mean, it's not really a component library. It just said it in the screen. So go ahead and run that. It's going to prompt you with a couple of things. Well, base colors. I'm just going to stick to the basics. You can do whatever you want to do, right? But what this will do is it will basically issue. So it will add things inside of our components photo in a minute, right? And then what we can do to add our first component is, I'll just want to show you that as well. So you'll see here, it's a set of beautifully designed, it's not a component library. It's basically how you build your component library. Yeah, very good way of putting it. So basically when you run these commands like this, add button, you're effectively copying and pasting the code into your code base. When I run add button, you'll see in components, I will now have a UI folder with a button inside. So it's full visibility, you can see exactly what's inside my code base. That's way better than having some random button pop in that I have no idea how it's coded up and stuff. And then of course you can see all of the different components here, right? And there's a bunch, I mean, I love ShadCN, they're awesome, right? And you obviously, all of it is built off of Tailwind CSS, which we all love, right? If you don't get to know, right, understand it, you're literally slacking behind if you're doing that, right? So we have that now. And then we have this, right? So obviously in this instance, right, there's a couple of things I want to hover over here. I'm not going to do a lot of the step-by-step kind of explain how to make a box and explain how to put text in this now. I've done it in like, I think 80 builds by this point in this channel. If you want to learn all that stuff, either you can go watch those builds or you can literally join Zero to Full Stack Hero and I've got modules which will teach you it all. In this instance, I've given you the code base. I want to teach you the chunks, the main stuff of how to build an app like this. We've done this before, and I think it works so much better in terms of teaching you the actual useful parts, as opposed to just showing you line by line, when nowadays there's faster ways of doing things, okay? So before you can see that's not actually kicked in with Tailwind CSS, I want you to cut your terminal and just run it again. Because there's sometimes a little bit of you need to do a bit of a hard reset on the terminal. What do you guys think? Let me know about Clerk Billing in the chat. I think it's bloody awesome, right? Now, while that's happening, what I want you to do is if you go into your BrightData, firstly, you would have been emailed a environment key, right? So API key, sorry, not environment key, an API key. Now, also, why has my light gone off? That's interesting. Oh, I didn't turn on the... I want the lights on. That's going to be annoying. Okay, I forgot to turn on one switch, which I could actually turn on very quickly. I don't know how I'm going to do this without being weird. Okay, give me one moment. I'm going to quickly turn on a light. 1 minute. I'm going to turn on a light in a moment. 1 second. I'll be back in literally 30 seconds. And see, there you go. Right on cue. All right, that was stressing me out. Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't happening. Yeah, but there you go. That's much better. So now we can go ahead and I mean, I'm a bit darker, but it's fine. I'll fix it. Okay, so now we can carry on with the build. That was going to bother me otherwise. I was thinking, what is different in the background? Okay, and look at that. We still got hundreds of people watching. I love you guys. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, you're going to get the environment key sent to you in the email, in your emails, right? Once that's done, if you didn't get an environment key sent in emails for whatever reason, you can actually just go to settings, go to user management, and you'll have your key over here. Okay, so you're going to copy your key, go to your EMV, and then go ahead and pop it in like so. So I'm going to show you how I did mine. BrightData key, and then you want to basically paste it in. So I'm going to quickly hide my screen for a second and do the following. 1 minute, guys. So I'm going to do paste it in. So I just pasted in my key and I'm closing it. The reason why I'm not showing you that one is because I know you guys all too well, and I know that someone is going to try and grab that key, and that one's actually build. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, well, that's annoying. Now something else isn't coming on. Anyway, it is fine. I look a bit, yeah, it's a bit dark now. I need to set one. There's one setting I want to change, but I don't want to mess around too much on the stream. Do I just do it on? Oh my God, this is so annoying. 1 minute. There you go. The things we do for YouTube. Wow. Okay, we got past it. Okay, so there we go. Jay goes, you noticed the lights went off. You didn't want to break my flow. Okay, let's get back in now. All right, we hit a refresh and we can see hello world. Now, for some reason, my hello world isn't actually, there we go. Yeah, thank God. Right, so it's working. Okay, so we've copied the key. We've got the key inside now. So BrightData is set up. There we go. We're ready for that. The next thing is we created our scraper. So we're going to do new, or did we do it already? No, I don't think we actually created it. Just do SERP Intelligence Perplexity AI, search by prompt, scraper API, and then we have it here. Okay, so this was, I forgot to, I don't know if we reached this point or not. But anyway, let's build out our homepage. So let's go ahead and do it right now. And this is where we're going to speed up a little bit, I guess, to get things actually built up. So again, all of this code is available in the GitHub description, right? So you can in the description in the description of YouTube, right? So you guys can see for yourself. I'm also curious. We have like 200 people watching right now. Let me know, because I'm either confused. Is everyone is like dialed in, or everyone is just super silent right now? But let me know what the case is, right? So I'm gonna firstly chuck in 2 big blocks here. Okay. Before I do that, okay, you know what, actually I'm just gonna pop in the sections entirely and then just run you through code, because I think it just makes sense. You guys have this code for free that I'm giving you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop in the first section right here. Okay. Now this one right here, you can see for yourself, I just popped in that block. Okay. Is effectively, so we need to do a couple of imports here. So I'm gonna do control spacebar and just import like so. Sparkles as well. Lucid React automatically gets installed. It's an icon library. So this is just styling and a bunch of stuff. Again, I give you all of this stuff. Now here we have very handy function. So this one is unauthenticated. It's from Convex. Sign in button comes from Clerk. We have the button, which is from Shadsian. We have search, which is from Lucid arrow right. And then the same with this, authenticated. We can do that. And then link is from Next. Don't do Lucid, do Next link. Okay. So just with that, we hit save, we should have our top banner thrown in the mix. Okay, so in a moment that will hit a re-render, and it says create context only works in client components. That is because the unauthenticated is actually from Convex. So what this is doing is it's checking if our Convex is synchronized with our Clerk, the wrapper we put in it, and then we're going to just, but in order to do that, it requires something called context. In this case, you guys can see right there, we've got a weird little issue. What is that over there? What is that? Have I got that on mine? Oh yeah, powered by BrightData and OpenAI. Oh yeah, that would be. Okay, I'll figure it out. Oh, God knows what is going on today. All right, so once we got that down, underneath that, we're gonna have the next bit, the next section. So underneath this section, we're gonna have the feature highlights. So this will be the feature highlights, like so, right? And then here we're gonna have another section. Again, this one's a chunk, it's a huge chunk, and it's basically got card content inside of it. Okay. Can this API scrape website pages have login bot protection? I believe it can. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to pop in the next feature section. Again, all of the code is available in the description. So you have access to all of this right now, right? So this is just the feature highlights. And basically it's this section right here. So it'll be choose your SEO superpower like this, where it shows different features. And I've just gone to show you both ways. Now, this uses the card component from Shadcyan. So we need to install that. So let's go down to Shadcyan. Let's introduce the card component. I'm going to go ahead and grab it like so. And then we're going to do Command J. We're going to paste that in like so. And I'd sometimes get the comment of, this guy's just copying and pasting code. God, what? I'm doing it live in front of you. Yes, I am copying and pasting code, which I've written before. But if there's no point me writing every line when I can give you the code for free and you can follow along with the important stuff of the build. It doesn't make sense. Like, make it make sense. Like, I've done it in 80 builds so far. And then after some many rounds of feedback, I believe it's more valuable to give you the code in a lot of cases, not every build, but in a lot of cases, and be able to, you can go ahead and see for yourself, explaining every single thing. Like, check the website, learn Tailwind CSS, right? So in this case, there we go. We got that down. That looks pretty cool. So that looks quite nice. Now you can see we've got an issue here with some of the animations, and that is because, that is because of the card. So that's actually the badge, I believe. Yep, I know what that is. That's this. The badge, I actually imported it from Lucid. It's not from there. It's from this badge. Yeah, I forgot to do it. The Shadcyan badge. There you go. We need to install that as well into our terminal. Let's go ahead and do that. Go down here and then let's pop it in. That's me racing ahead. There you go. That's nicer. We've got our button here, which generates report. If you click it, it takes you to the dashboard. Okay. So there you go. That's nicer. Cool. So after that, if we go down, and then right now, obviously we have got use client, but if you didn't want to server-side, client-side render this page, you don't actually have to, right? So if we were to get rid of that, for example, you could be absolutely fine with this. And to be fair, where we have a sign up button right now, we are actually protecting the dashboard because we already have it. So if you try to go dashboard, you have to be logged in. So that's the first thing, right? But in this case, I'm just going to make sure that you have to be authenticated, right? Now, I just realized as well, I don't think I'm actually stopping you once you're in the app. So I'll show you how to do a check later in the layout.tsx of how if the user hasn't got a subscription, then you should throw them away, basically, right? But I don't think I'm doing it right now. But anyway, okay. But at this point, we've got this, the SEO superpower. Then we've got the pricing cards at the bottom, okay? Now, after, where is it? So down here. So after that section, we're going to do the subscription section. So the pricing section. Now the pricing section is, again, huge, pretty chunk. And this one, again, is just a bit of styling. So underneath the section, we have the pricing and I'm popping that in. And you can see here, we pop that down and you've got two options, subscribe to start and subscribe to pro. Again, I've given you all the code here. So I'm not going to keep saying it because but in case you jump in the video late, you can see for yourself, right? These are just linking to the pricing page, these ones. Also nice hover effects. Yeah. Now after that section, what I want to do is I want to give you the social proof section. Okay. So the social proof section is an important section in the SaaS business because obviously it helps you prove that, you know, this is actually used by some cool people or it's built by some cool people. So let's do our import statements. And now the social proof is down here. Now you can feel free to customize it as you see fit. The only thing we're missing is a header, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a component, not in the UI folder, in the top there. I'm going to call it header. Let's do .tsx or rfce, and this is going to be our header component. Now the header component, what we're going to do is firstly, we're going to have a, we'll change these to header tags. Okay, so header tags. And I need to render this everywhere in my app. So we're going to go to our layout, and where we have the children being rendered out, what we want to do instead is go ahead and throw in the header on top like so. So we'll do it now. Oops. Here we have it. Let's do components, and there we have it. Okay. And then you can see one of my projects there. Right, you got the header now renders on the top. Okay. So with that done, we need to obviously make it look a bit nicer. I'm also going to show you how to do dark mode as well. But for now, I want to check the only time I don't want to have a, so basically I want my header to be sticking over everything except for on the pricing page. And the reason why is if we go to our pricing page on our production one, what you'll notice is if I go here, you see how this goes over the header, right? Well, right now there's not a clear way of actually overriding the Clerk UI component. So instead, what we're going to do is make sure that we don't have our header sit on top of it in the beginning. So how do we do that? Well, there's a couple of ways. You can do it without the, you can do it a few ways actually here. I'm just trying to think, do I need to do it the way that I think I need to do this? I'm going to do it out of simplicity for today. I'm going to transfer this to a client component. You don't have to, you can use another way. But for now, we're going to have two pieces of state. One is going to be to check if we're in a pricing page or not. Okay. And then we're going to set its pricing page when it mounts, and we need the path name. So const path name that we're currently in. So path name equals use path name. Interesting why my, cursor is not doing what it should be doing as well. Cause right now, did you mean path name is not? What is going on with this? Cannot find path name. Okay, my cursor is absolutely freaking out. There we have it. So, it was just literally the capital. Stupid. Okay, so we have this. Now, what I want to do is use that in a ternary to basically say in my class name styling. So for the header, I'm going to say it's going to be sticky top 0 with a bunch of styling. And then you can see its pricing page. And look at that. And no, you know, it blows my mind. Sumit and just goes, it was the N. And so that's how I know you guys are watching down to Hawkeye level, which is crazy, right? Thank you. What are we doing right now? We are, what's up, Finland? We're building the header at the moment. Okay. So after that, we have a div. Inside our div, we have a bit of styling. So it's going to be the styling for the div. And then we're going to go ahead and include our sections. So firstly, I'm going to have B for bright. So we're going to have like a little logo. Let's include it right here. And our app is just going to be called Bright, right? So I don't ask how I came up with that name, just kind of popped in, right? Might have something to do with us doing BrightData, but there you go. Okay. In this case, we've got another div, and I'm going to start popping in the different things inside of this div. Now, here you can see we've got a lot of things that we need to import. We've got the button, the bar chart, we've got the theme toggle, which I'll create in a moment. Auth loading comes from Convex, which basically says while the authentication is loading, again, Convex. This is from Clerk. This is from Lucid. And there you go. Essentially, all it's doing is just rendering the different components based on what is there. Now we can get rid of the theme toggle for a second. And now you can see if I'm logged in, like we have a nice little spinner. If I'm logged in, if I'm logged out, it will go ahead and show a sign in. So you can see right here, sign in. And because we're using type modal for sign in, it pops in like so. Okay. Super easy, by the way, to get that modal look. If you want to get that, you just go ahead and do button mode modal. Mode equals modal. Okay. So next up, theme toggle. right? Implementing themes are super easy in Shadcn. All you got to do is go up here to dark mode, Next.js, next add themes. Let's go down here. Let's install it in our terminal. Boom, like so. Go back over here, make a theme provider, like so. So let's go ahead and create this theme provider. You don't even need that. I need the code. What am I doing? Yeah. So in this case, the theme provider. We're going to call it theme toggle as well. So let's create one. Let's call it theme toggle. What was it called? Theme toggle. Yep. .tsx. Let's paste in that code and let's change this. Oh no, sorry, not that one. Well, the theme provider we need, so that's fine. So don't do what I just did. Sorry. Use theme provider. It doesn't really matter. You can call it what you want, but I'm going to keep that one in as is. I want to do in the layout. We need to suppress hydration warning, and we need to wrap our app at the lowest level with this. So here I'm going to do it underneath the Clerk provider. I'm here because I know nothing about coding. What's up? We're actually doing a bit more of a vibe code session as well today, so which is kind of cool. Right, so we've got the theme provider, going to wrap everything inside of it, and then we need to pass in a few arguments. The arguments are going to be, we're going to use class for the attribution. We're going to do default is the system theme. So if you're in dark mode, naturally it'll be dark, and then disable the transition and change. So it'll just snap to be a different one. Now, next up, we need the theme toggle. So as you can see, this little theme toggler, let's go ahead and grab that. And let's go down here and let's call this one theme toggle.tsx, paste it in, go over here. Let's call this one theme toggle. And you see we need the drop down menu. So we go to Shadcn, go to the drop down menu, grab the drop down menu, go back over here, Command J, install it. And now you see that will go away. Okay, so this is how this is very fast development style, right? You can see in a moment that should go right away. There we go. Now, if we go to our header, theme toggle, import it, bam, hit save, hit a refresh, and pow, just like that, we have our light and dark mode. Now, obviously, I don't think I've styled everything to support dark mode, but you can see for yourself, it's very easy to do it. If you want to style anything in dark mode, you just set rules for it. So everything by default is applying to normal, and then if you want the dark style, you just do dark with whatever you want, red text 500, or text red, sorry, 500, 400, whatever you want to do. Okay, so that's how basically you effectively style your dark mode. So now you know how to do that. You can basically run with it, right? And we've also got this nice kind of like glass morphism effect because we're very Apple-esque at the moment, right? So once that's done, right, we're on a subscription plan. We're going to go to dashboard. Now we don't have a dashboard screen at the moment. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a dashboard screen. Oops, no, don't do that. Let's go ahead and create a dashboard screen. So first step in our journey is we're going to go ahead, and obviously you can customize your 404 not found page. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and create a /dashboard. Oh no, there you go. And then we're going to create a page which represents the route. So page.tsx, RFCE, dashboard page. Dashboard page. Okay. And as you can see, now it renders the dashboard page. Okay. So in here, before we do anything, I actually want to see anything under this route, right? So for example, underneath the dashboard, you can do this in many different ways, but I want to make sure that you actually got a paid plan. Okay. So this is going to be very important because I want to know if you're actually a member or not. So we're going to do RFC, and I actually haven't written this code. I'm freestyling it right now because I just remembered that I didn't do this bit precisely. So what we can do is in Clerk Billing, I'll show you exactly my thought process. We go to Clerk Billing, and I'm doing this live as well, by the way. Yeah. So I haven't actually prepped this bit. So go to here, go to the documentation. I want to show you here. Where is it? Docs. Clerk Billing. B2C SaaS, enable billing, blah, blah, blah. Create a paging. Yep, we got pricing table. Here we are. Has premium access, right? And you got this one, has feature widgets and so forth. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and say, this by default is going to be server side rendered. So we can actually do a little server render here first. So we can say has premium access. Now to get that, you got to do the following. No, and then you want to get the has, And then we can make this an async because in Next.js, I think it's 13 or 14. I can't remember which version, but 15, obviously by default, we are server components. Okay. Now we can say const has paid plan, right? Equals has, and then what we can do is pass in the plan. Okay. So we can say plan, and then here I can pass in the plan. Now we set up two plans, right? We set up a starter and a pro. Okay. So const, what we can do is we can say has starter plan, and then we could do const has pro plan. I'm quite annoyed that my autocomplete isn't doing its thing right now, which is very frustrating. I don't know why it's not doing it. Let me just check something. So auto incomplete. Restart. Which one is it? Is it RCP server? Someone can check that and let me know. I restarted the TypeScript server, but it's not that. It's actually just my autocomplete IntelliSense. Because that's going to help out a lot. AI taking over our jobs. No, it's not taking over your jobs. It will take over your job if you don't catch up with the devs who are using it. All right. So now has pro plan. And then from that, you can just do a simple is paid member. Okay. Equals. Okay, this is annoying as hell because I want to use my IntelliSense, which will make me code way faster than what I'm doing right now. This link right here. Let me just check something, guys. So it's working on my other machine. What the hell? If anyone can check that and let me know, that will help a lot. How to restart your autocomplete. Otherwise, I can check right now. Is paid member. Let's see. It's paid member. I can do it has starter plan or has pro plan. Okay. And that's basically going to say it's going to be a Boolean, which would be true or false. And then, of course, you can basically say if they're not a paid member. What's saying log out, log in again, help me. I don't think we have to do that, Jay. Oh, wait a minute. I think I logged out of my... No, I'm on pro plan. Yeah. No, I don't think that's the one. It's just annoying. Why is my autocomplete not working? I'm not saying I need it, but it makes, when you're live coding on a live stream, it makes things a lot easier. I use Convex MCP as well, guys. Very nice. What's it called? Autocomplete. All selection, blah, blah, blah. Next slide display, auto chat. Oh, come on. Anyone in the chat, find out, please. Otherwise, what I can do is I can do a little... Oops. A warp. Documents build. This one is CD, BrightData. SEO YouTube SaaS. There we are. Nice. Drives me crazy when stuff like that. I mean, you don't need it, but is it going to help? Yeah, damn right it will help. All right. So in this case, there we go. Nice. We have it. Okay. So is paid member. If it's not a paid member, you're not a paid member. Otherwise, show the layout. Okay. So in this case, I want to show you that that actually works. So firstly, right now, we need to restart our dev server. So let's go and do that. Remember, if you're watching the replay of this, you can literally just skip all of this and do it. You know, because you can just go ahead and watch and see the timestamps. But the fact that there are so many people that are still watching, it blows my mind. That is awesome. Thank you. Almost at 200 likes. Destroy the like button, guys. I appreciate you. All right. So I need to log in again. Sonny Sangha. There you go. It shows us. There we go. Okay. Compile and dashboard. Here, refresh layout. Okay, nice. So we're a paid member, right? Now let's say if I reverse that, you see it will say you're not a paid member. And it does that on the server render, which is good. Now, why is that important? Because here I want to redirect them back to that homepage if they ain't here, supposed to be here. right? So let's say, for example, I didn't have a membership. If I tried to go here, you see how it throws me here? Even though I tried to go to the dashboard, boom, it throws me back, right? Anywhere in my nested route in the dashboard. So you can do it that way. There's many ways you can do it, but I'm just showing you examples there. Now let's go back to dashboard. So there you go. Okay. So that way we can basically do a little check and then we can render out the rest. Now, what do we want to do here? We effectively just want to render out the children like so, right? And then the children, we're going to pass through. So this is called a higher order component layout pattern. So anything beneath our dashboard now will follow that. Okay. Which is super easy, right? So that looks cool. Let's go ahead and close that. And then let's do our dashboard. So I'm going to do the first few important parts and then we're going to step through it. So number one, in the dashboard, what do we have? Well, in the dashboard, if we have a look over here, we can see that we have our create new report button. Can we monetize this? You can learn from this and build your own. But if you do want to actually go ahead and create this app yourself, then you just have to email us and get permission. But otherwise, yeah, there is effectively the option to do that. But you have to ask for permission. There's a license to it. But yeah, you can build your own SaaS 100%. And this is exactly how you do it, right? As in the techniques I'm showing you and stuff. Try member considered as pay member here. Well, yes, effectively, if you have any SaaS application and a person is on a trial, after 7 days, effectively, you're going to charge them, right? So right now, you notice how we took a card on before they could activate, right? But we used the test card here. So it'll give them 7 days free, and then it'll start charging them. So the goal is you're going to give them enough value, and then bam. And right now on our starter plan, you got $19, I think it is. And then on the pro plan, $49.99. So I've just said in this case, you get unlimited reports. You can do what you want. Do you own any SaaS? Yes, I do. But I'm not going to talk about them right now because we do B2B and do a few other things. But yeah, I do a bunch of stuff like that. Okay. Now over here, if I want to just, start a next scraping job, I do Sangha. We're going to build this flow. Okay. This is the main flow in the app. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. Now, oh yeah, there you are. Pending. I was going to say, what happened there? It's loading. Just the demo goes don't like me. There you go. Scraping. And that changes in real time, by the way. Okay. So let's do, and if you want to learn about SaaS or any of that stuff, then again, papareact.com, join us. I teach you all of this, right? Go to use client. I'm not sure let me know right now, is everyone like locked in? Because the chat is more quiet, but the views are much higher. So I'm curious what the hell's going on. Like, is everyone just dialed in? Yeah, let me know. All right, we're going to need a couple of UI components. Let's go ahead and pull these in. I need to install input. Let's go and do input right now. Save ourselves a bit of time. Over here. Sorry, can we monetize this for our own SaaS? You would have to just reach out to us before you do anything commercial with this code. That's my advice, right? So we need a few icons as well. And then, we're going to do, I need a country selector as well. So those things actually, I can build afterwards. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So we're locked and loaded. Yeah, look, everyone's just dialed in. That's what it is. Everyone's just, that's crazy. Okay. So we need a few pieces of state and we need the router firstly. So use router from Next Navigation, never Next router anymore, right? We've got all of these things. These are complaining because we're not using them. That's the reason why, in case you're wondering, right? We have country, which by default is the US, and you can go ahead and do what you need to do and change the default. Now, again, the code for this, I'm going to keep saying it. We've given you the entire code base, so there's no point in me writing every single thing from the ground up again. I'm going to show you the chunks and the logical bits that make sense. Now, that's effectively the whole thing in this one. So, okay. I'll step it. Okay, so otherwise it's going to be a bit jarring for you. We have a div. Let's have another div here. It goes in like so. And then inside of here, we have a few things. Now, firstly, we have the create report section. Okay, so this one is a very big chunk, and this is all responsible for the creating a report, this chunk. Okay, so we're going to throw that in. And now what's happening here, right? Let's do a little bit of a deep dive as to what I just put in the code. So we've got the create report section. This is a card, again, from React component, ShadCN. Card is cool, by the way. If you check it out yourself, it gives you like a nice kind of card. That's basically it. It's a card, right? And you've got card header and titles and this and that. So alone, it gives you a bit of a base style. And then I'm adding in a bunch of new styling. We've got comprehensive SEO analysis. And then we've got the form. This is the main bit I want you to pay attention to, is the form. We've got a handle submit function, which we have not yet created. Inside of the form, we've got some styling. We've got a little bit of a style trick where we've got the input, but we style it so it looks like that. So the input is next to it. And then we've got something called a country selector, which I need to code, right? We haven't got that yet. And then we've got a button, which is disabled if we're loading or if the user puts a spacebar in. So prompt.trim, that's how we get that effect. And then we're basically handling when you try and submit what happens to the state. And then feature highlights, you know, these little 3 dots at the bottom. And then these kind of nice little shimmers that we have going on, they, I believe we put up here. Background decorations. That's a real nice touch, right? And believe it or not, I did vibe code that little detail. Okay, so there you go, right? Is this course good for someone just starting out? So right now, if you want to really get dialed in and caught up to speed with this, I recommend jumping over to papareact.com. Check out Zero to Full Stack Hero. But yes, you can definitely watch along, learn a ton while you're doing this. Maybe a bit heavy, but I reckon you'll still learn quite a lot by doing this. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to pop in the handle submit function. And right now, all we want to do is just do e.prevent default. This means that effectively we stop the page from refreshing. Okay. Now this is freaking out because we don't have country selector over here. We don't have this component. So I need to create that component. So let's go into components, create a new component called country selector.tsx. Now, this one is going to be responsible for, you know, handling different countries. Now, yes, there are so many ways you could build a country selector. I'm aware. Okay. So let's do RFC and I'll show you how I've just done it nicely and easy for now to not bloat this thing out. So firstly, let's have our 3 values that we pass in: value, on value, and disabled. And then we're going to have our country props, country selector props. Those we're using TypeScript. So we're going to shape them with an interface like so. So value string, on value change, and disabled. Firstly, I want to fix this by importing our country selector. And as you can see right now, it's just country selector. And already look very nice, right? Now, country selector here, what I want to do is firstly, you can install a package where you can basically get all of the countries, right? I did it a different way. I just basically created a quick little array with everything. And yes, you can easily generate this if you want. Just make sure these countries are supported by BrightData, because this is going to be passing through to BrightData. Okay. And then we're going to make this a client component because we've got a bit of interactivity. And then we're going to import some stuff that we need. Okay. Now, after that, what we're going to do is for the country selector itself, we're going to render out all the countries where selected country. So, whatever you've selected. So we're actually drilling the state down from above. So here, the value and on value change is actually country and set country from our state. I only recommend you do this, by the way, if you're doing prop drilling 1 level down. If you're doing several after that, no, you need to extract it to somewhere else, like Zostand or somewhere else like that, right? Or just context API, right? Now inside of here, we have something called a drop-down menu. Now I'm going to go ahead and place the code in here. Again, you can get access to the entire code. In the description, we've got drop-down menu. And in this case, all of the drop-down menu comes from here. You see? So we're going to use the same logic, right? And we've just added a bit of styling. We've got the country code and flags, and we're just mapping through, right? So right now, in this case, we don't actually show anything on the trigger. So obviously it makes sense. It's just a trigger, the button we click, but the individual menu items in the content window, that's where we map through all the countries. Okay. So just with that now, you can see we actually have it rendering out pretty nice. And look at that. That's pretty awesome. Okay. And you can see it says max width. So I think we can actually maybe even, if we were to get rid of that, say width 4, does that change it? I wonder. No. I think it's going to be down to these even. If we did like 980. Yeah, you could, I mean, you could make that a bit bigger if you wanted. So this one clearly requires a bit of a fixed number. But if you did want to kind of, but the problem is, again, that's not really going to work well, is it? So I would leave that the default for now, but there is ways of doing that nicely. Okay. But there you go. Right. That's fine. The main thing is the functionality is pretty damn sweet. Okay. So in this case, if I want to do Canada or if I want to do Australia, there you go. You can pop it in. So in this case, let's do United Kingdom and then say Sonny Sangha. And you can see how even our button, look at that, even a little spin. Right. Really nice. Right. So what's next? Naturally, let's do our submit. What actually happens when I click that button? Okay. Well, oh, and also, bam, over 200 likes. I absolutely love it. And this is why I wanted to turn the lights on. It was worth it. See, the whole vibe changes. That was a pun. Okay. Okay. Now that we have handle submit, that's our next bit. So, and then Jay sends me a message, 200 likes. No, Jay, you gotta be faster, dude. All right. So in this case, we gotta pop this in. We're gonna have a try catch as well. And we have it is loading here as well. So, okay, now there's a few ways. You can either use a transition hook, like use transition, where you have start transition and this kind of stuff, or you can do set as loading true and then just finally set it to false. It's up to you. I'm going to keep it as this way and I'll show you another way later. But what we're going to do in this try catch block is when we submit, we're going to hit a server action. Yes, your boy is teaching you server actions too. Thank you, Sonny. I'm teaching you server actions, API routes, a whole lot in this build. It's crazy. All right. And then that server action will basically respond with a response.ok. Right? If it has that, then we're going to go ahead and say something. So we're going to go ahead and do the following. Then we're going to go ahead and do so an error will actually get thrown either way here, but we could do it. You actually don't even need that because it's going to bubble it and catch it there. But anyway, you could do that, right? So if response is not okay, then you can do a console log response data to see your data. I recommend you keep that in for now while you're debugging. I'm loving the style. You are looking pretty sick, like Sonny's haircut. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Here you can see we've got the router. Once it's done, okay, so here's how BrightData works. When we're going to put in Sonny Sangha, we've got a country, in this case, it could be GB, US, United Kingdom, whatever the case. And you can even change that, by the way, to say United Kingdom. And then we click generate. Now, when that does it, we're going to create a server action. The server action will fly over to our lovely friends at BrightData. So if we click API request builder, you can see here, we've got node. If we do fetch, just close that for a second. We can see here. Now, here you can see that this is a post request that is being made, which is an API call to their backend. We've got our authorization key and you can see the body has data inside of it. Okay. And the data includes the URL, the prompt, the country, and the index. Okay. Yes, I'm going to be invalidating my keys, guys. Don't be stupid. Jay, make sure I do that at the end. All right. So in this case, we've got Perplexity and the prompt itself. The prompt is the important part. And the countries. You can see that's what we're effectively going to change. And then the URL will remain the same. Okay, now we're also going to add in a couple of more things like a webhook URL. So in this case, imagine this was just, for example, www.https. Just to show you google.com. So event, you can see it says endpoint, and then we have to encode that and pass that through as an option there. And then we can even go ahead and add in, select a custom output schema. Now here, this is important because I don't want every field to come back. So what we're going to do is in the data of the body that we send, we also highlight custom output fields. So it will only give us the stuff we actually want. That's important. We don't want tons of unnecessary data. Okay. Now, if I could just do test webhook, you can see we just shot off an event to Google. So that's why it failed. But yeah, that's it. And then you can even deliver the results, by the way, to S3 or any kind of storage as well. In this case, we're going to do a webhook. Okay. So this is how I would say you can look at, these kind of things, and then you can derive and figure out, okay, how would I build this into an architecture? So this is how we've come to this point. When you execute that job, it creates a scraping log, right? Or a scraping job, sorry. And it gives you something called a snapshot ID. And you can see the snapshot ID in the logs. Now, what the hell? Why am I nose running? Okay. Now, after that, what do we do with it? How do we know when it's done? We know that once a job is finished, it'll hit the webhook. How do we know that it's synchronized? How do we know what happened? This is stuff that, unless, again, and you can ask GPT and vibe code that as much as you want. Good luck trying to get it to what I got it to, okay? So sometimes, yes, no, not sometimes, it always counts. Understand the fundamentals, be a good developer, then use vibe coding to help you out if you need to, okay? But don't do the opposite, right? And I stress the point enough. Let people believe that the world is going to be taken over by AI agents and all that rubbish, because it's awesome stuff, but if you believe it, then you're probably one of the people who are just going to lose early on. So upgrade your skill set, in my opinion. Okay, so in this case, let's go and do actions, and then here I'm going to do one called, I'm going to do our first server action called start scraping .ts. Okay, and then here we're going to say use server. This is a server action, right? Now here we're going to have a few different things going on. So a couple of imports, right? Prompts, Perplexity, and Convex HTTP. We don't have these yet. I need to create these, right? So number one is, let's create the signature for the header first. So this is the signature for the header. So that's our function. Okay. And then what we want to do is, let's do export default on that. Export default on the scraper. Okay. Async function. There you go. And then what I want to do is I want to actually firstly check that our BrightData key is even here. So we don't want to, if it's not set, we should throw an error right there, because we need that key to make any scraping happen. Now we need a prompt that we're going to pass to the Perplexity scraper inside of BrightData. And we also need this API path. Now, here's where we're going to blow your mind, right? So in Convex, we have something called Convex. Naturally, basically, every time I change a function here, so right now this is automatically just been added my functions, it's giving us a dummy schema and so forth. So I didn't do anything here, right? It literally, the starter template gave us this, but because it gave us this, it ran a deployment. So what did that mean? If we go to our data, you will see in the backend there is a numbers table, and then there's also functions, my functions, list numbers, add number, my action. You can see here these functions can be found here, my action, add number, list numbers. These, every time I hit save, you can see it deploys in real time and deploys to the backend. So what we're doing here is why I like Convex a lot, is because every time you effectively make changes, you're literally sending it to your cloud deployment. See, development cloud. You have a production, development cloud, and you even have preview deployments, which we use in our B2B SaaS. All right, so that's pretty damn good. Now, how can we take that a step further, right? So I looked into the documentation. I found if you write http.ts, you have this lovely function. And what this does is damn cool. So if you type in Convex HTTP, and you see here, HTTP actions. This is very powerful now. You can create your HTTP routes. You're probably wondering, well, something that's just like a backend, right? Well, bear with me, because it gets very nice as to how we're going to do this, okay? So here we have, with a couple of imports from, this is just generated from our schemas and so forth to make sure our things are type safe, again with this. And then we have our HTTP router. Now I'm creating an enum to make sure that we don't make any type mistakes with, making sure that we reference the same API endpoint. And then all we do is effectively very similar to like an Express server, right? Where we say http.route, right? But in this case, what we do is we pass in the path, and that path is going to be the API webhook to make sure it always matches the same. And then we have the following. So in this case, that's actually correct. We have the method, which is a post. We have HTTP action, and then we have everything accordingly. Now, in this case, what I want you to do is in your environment variables, and I'm going to invalidate my keys afterwards, so I'm just going to show it now. But in your environment variables, what would have happened is when you spun up your app, you would have got this automatically passed to you. Now, this will be different from you than to me, because you get your own development cloud. Also notice how I just hit save and it's live as an endpoint. Crazy, right? So fast. So when you get this one, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and create another environment variable called this next public site, next public Convex site URL. Okay. Now, once you've got that, I want you to basically copy the value above, but instead of convex.cloud, it's going to be convex.site. Okay. Now there is probably somewhere in Convex's documentation an easier way to do that, but I didn't find it. Yeah. So if there is and they're watching, shout. But for now, the site is important to change, right? So now with this, we actually have the route. Now, how do I know that that's actually working? Well, let's give it a little test here. Let's do another route. And I'm going to go ahead and do another route right here. Let's do. Where do I add the second route? I'm sorry, I forgot. I think I do an array of routes. No, it wasn't this. It was. How do you add two again? Oh god, I did not memorize this. Okay, so that's our first one. What about the second one? HTTP route. The foundational route. Oh, it's just literally a separate. Oh, stupid. It's just the second one. Right? So gap. Now, Sonny, how do we know you're actually telling the truth? Go to this URL right now while I'm live, and you'll see for yourself. So let's go ahead and do this, and you will literally see right now live that if you go to that, because I've made a GET request, it says no matching routes found because I'm passing to this one. But let's just do /hello world. Okay. Now, if I go to that link /hello world, you will see uncore error type definition blah blah blah. Okay, because I'm trying to do a request.bytes. Instead of this, let's just do a return something safe. Let's just do return hello world. Yeah. Hit refresh. Bytes is not a function. Okay, is it deployed? Let's see. Save. Let's just check down here. Did it deploy? Pushing code to deployment. And there you go. Hello world. Right? Guys, that is a live link. Right now, I'm going to put it in the chat and you will see for yourself that is literally live and it works. Why is this game changer? Because now when you need a webhook and you want to test something, you don't need to ngrok it and do these crazy little tunnels that only like constantly change and stuff. It just works. That, I'm sorry, is incredible. I think that is awesome. I think that is slick as hell. And with that, we're going to create our API endpoint, a webhook. Now I can literally create webhooks just super easy and they're going to stay up, right? So that's, sorry, I went back. Yeah. So next up, what we can do is go back to our app. This is the wrong one. This is this one. Yeah. We can get rid of, actually I'll keep that up and running so you can see hello world. I'm going to say hello world from Papa Farm. So you guys will get a little message if you go to that link, right? So there we have it. So we have that. Now, next up, we need to do something actually interesting here rather than just doing that. So before we continue on, I'm going to create a schema for what our database will eventually look like, right? So right now we have this schema. I don't like it. There's nothing we need here. So I'm going to update it with our schema. Our schema is this. We're going to define the table, which is scraping jobs. And we're going to have a user ID, which is the clerk's user ID, the original prompt that you entered. Okay. So if it was Sonny Sangha, that'd be the original prompt. The analysis prompt, this will be the one where GPT will analyze, right? So, you know, and then we can use that as a debugging trick afterwards. Snapshot ID, this is used from, we get this from actually from BrightData. Yeah. We got the status, which is how we keep track of everything. So this is actually our status, but it's not really BrightData's job. But this is how I'm keeping track of where we're at in our own flow. Right, so this is kind of self-explanatory. Results are basically going to be filled with the when the webhook receives its finished call. SEO report is going to be from the AI analysis, and then analysis prompt is going to be for. So which one is the analysis prompt? I think the analysis prompt is one of them is the data that we get from Perplexity, and one of them is the report from. This is from GPT, from the GPT AI analysis. This one is from Perplexity. Saved data from BrightData Perplexity scraper. Yeah. There you go. Okay. And then we have errors and we have some metadata as well. And then we're creating some indexes for helping us search it quicker down the line. Okay. Now, with that in mind, if we go down back over to our function, then we can actually start doing a bit more stuff as opposed to just looking at it. So what we can do is we can have a type, which is a job. So let's represent a job like so. Now a job is just going to have an ID, which is an ID of scraping jobs, original prompt, and the status. Right. So we initially start by initializing a job with no value. Okay. Then what we do is we're going to go ahead and pass the data that we send to this endpoint. Okay. So we're going to go and send some data to this endpoint. We're obviously going to have a catch block at the end of this. So we're going to have a try and then a catch like so. Okay. So we've got a try catch block. Right now we don't do anything. Right. So firstly, we're going to send data this way. Now, what is this complaining about? Yeah. That's fine. It's because it's not being used. Okay. So after that, well, firstly, where are we sending this data? Where are we sending the stuff from this original prompt and all that stuff? So we hit this with our server action, which we need to create, but we're creating the API endpoint first. So the webhook. So this is the webhook. Sorry, I should have maybe mentioned that. We're creating the webhook. Yeah. So for when the BrightData completes. So that's what happens. So when the BrightData Perplexity scraper completes, we hit this webhook. Okay. Now, after this is done, we're going to break it up into a few steps. So for now, what we could do is let's comment this out and we'll come back to this in a moment, right? Because I kind of want to move forward with the start scraping part. So start scraping is what we actually toggle from this screen. So when we actually click and generate report. So let's carry on with that first because it'll make a lot more sense. Okay. So first up, I want to do a little bit of a sanity check, right? We're going to do a constant user ID and we're going to check if the user is authorized. Many ways you can do that. You can even do it in the middleware, right? It's completely up to you. Then we're going to initialize a Convex client. Now this is used for the anything on the server side. So, you know, if we do a server side call, we need a Convex HTTP client to communicate with Convex. Now here, see, I've done that. Now we shouldn't really do that. We should do an if check to make sure that you've actually set your Convex URL. If that was the case and you got through, then you can safely cast it. Okay. You can also check it down here as well if you want to. Now, next up, we're going to have a job ID. It's going to be empty in the beginning. Now, what I want to do is, you see how I passed in an exist. So we actually pass in 3 values here. The first is a prompt. The second is existing job ID. And the third is a country. Okay. So this is freaking out because I didn't pass it in the right spot. So this is actually going to be, they're going to make me do it manually. Existing job ID and country. Yep. And then we're going to have the following. And this by default country is going to be equal to US. Okay. There you go. And now the existing job ID means if there was an error at any point. So for example, if I was on this one and these errored out, now I can show you this actually if I've got my database open. So I can show you on my one. If I force one of these to fail, so let's go over here and let's just say that this was a failed, right? And let's go back. You can see like, damn it, failed. So I've built an entire retry flow. What this is going to do is it's going to check, okay, is there an existing job ID here? There is. There's a snapshot ID, right? That's a job ID. Retry the report. What it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and create a whole nother snapshot run. You see how we've got a new snapshot run and it replaced it for this report. So you can see all of the rest of the things remain the same, but now it's going to analyze. And also it doesn't need to scrape from Perplexity again. So we have a full retry mechanism and you can see all of that happened beautifully in real time, right? Didn't cause any weird refresh or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, if it's an existing job ID, then let's do something with it. So if it's an existing job ID, then firstly, can we check if we can use smart retry, which is the analysis only. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, do we already have the job information? So That's the first step. So analysis only, meaning we need to obviously define these functions. So for now it's going to fail, but I'm going to step it through and then we're going to go ahead and explain it all. Okay. So let me show you this block here. So if we can do that, then what we're going to do is we're going to get the retry info, and we're going to, here it says can retry analysis only, using smart retry analysis only for job, this one. Basically what I just explained to you. Okay. Now, what we do here is I need to basically create another server action in a moment. We've got the result here, which is basically going to do a retry analysis. And then we have the following. This is wrong. What the hell? I didn't even check that bit. All right, if result is okay, then we return back okay, with the data being no, because there's no new snapshot. Otherwise, we do job ID and smart retry true. Otherwise, we return the following. And then I wanted to show you. So after that, we basically are going to make a call to it's done some. I don't like it when it's just jumped ahead like this. Yeah, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to do create a new job for the record database. Okay. So this part here, let's pop it in. That's it. Yeah. So we have job ID. If there's an existing job, we're going to do this, and then we're going to go ahead and do the font. That is horrible. I'll show you a much nicer way to do that. And then we do a check. And then if we can't do the smart retry, which basically means that we have the scrape data available, then it will go ahead and do a full retry job for the job, right? So these are just manipulating the database, right? If we can't do any of that and there's no existing job ID pass through, then we just go ahead and do create scraping job. Okay, so all of that happens. And then after that, we're going to start doing the actual call. So I'm going to say call to BrightData. Right, so in this case, let's just pause here for a second. Now, what is this doing? This is the endpoint that we got from their website. Remember when we were looking at the website, the API inspection log? So this is what we basically have. You basically go ahead and do job ID, and we encode it. And why do you need to encode it? Because there's spaces, there's equal signs. That is not URL safe. So you have to have an encoded URI component. So why do we need to do that? Because it will be Convex site URL, API path webhook. So we're sending it to the webhook, which we're going to create in a second. But before any of that, retry analysis only. What does that do? Well, effectively, the retry analysis is like this. So it's a server component. We have our Convex client. We check Convex URL set. We have our server action here. So in this case, retry analysis only. It takes a job ID. Firstly, we're going to get a Convex client. Then we're going to go ahead and try to do it. Right now, what are we doing here? Well, we're basically going ahead and saying API.analysis, retry analysis only, which whereby we go ahead and I'll show you what we do in this. So this is actually an action is going to go ahead and start a job effectively, right? And then we return some data. And then here, this is actually going to go ahead and change data. So notice how mutation means you're writing to database. Action is when you're actually doing something, most likely, right? And then you return. Now, I'll explain these in a moment because we need to create an analysis, scraping jobs file, and all that goodness. So here, firstly, we can import that, which stops that erroring. And then, of course, our API is not created yet. We don't have any API stuff, mutations, any of that stuff. So go to Convex, create a new file, and let's go ahead and call it scraping jobs. So scraping jobs. Typically, what I like to do here is in your schema, you have table names. Based on the table name, I will typically have the file name, and that's where I'll have my queries and mutations inside there. Now, I've got loads here, so I'm going to go ahead and just pop them through, and each one is going to be for a different thing. We also have a SEO schema. Now, what is the SEO schema? That one we're going to create later on. So we're going to use that in a bunch of different spots. Again, I'll run through all of this, but the first one is create scraping job. Okay, so create scraping job. This one takes a original prompt, user ID, returns the following, just an ID, and basically just checks if the user is authenticated. You can use context.identity. Yes, I didn't this time. Context.database, insert scraping jobs. Also, we're doing a double hop in some of these instances where we're basically calling a server action, and then we're making something hit the database from there, which means we're not going to fully be authenticated. So you sometimes it's better to pass through. Const job ID. So then we basically insert the job inside of the database, user ID, the prompt, and we set the status to pending. Okay. So once that's done, then we're going to have the update job with snapshot IDs. This is whenever we need to update a job with some kind of status. So in this case, this one is just going to be updating it to running. Okay. And clear any errors, because, you know, if it had an error before and we set it to running, then we're saying that we restarted. Then we can have set job to analyzing. And yes, you can pass in a status and completely do it like that as well. But these are just a bit more explanatory in my opinion, right? Set raw scraping data. We're gonna have another one. Set raw scraping data. Save the SEO report. It just makes the code really readable, like when you pass an SEO report. And these are just functions we can call, which basically, and these are internal mutations, which means these are going to be called from our own Convex functions, not exposed externally via our Convex API. Save the original prompt is another one. Get job by ID. This one is a bit bigger. So get job by ID. I'm going to pass this one in. This one is a bit more large. So in this case, you can see it takes a job ID and it returns the following data structure. This is important. This one is literally the shape of the database. Now you can create something called validators. We are actually using Zod to check data when it goes into the database and validate it when it comes out of the database. That's one way. It's lightweight, which is why I'm doing it in the build. You can also have complete validation by having validators run here as well. Convex validators or Zod validators, one of them, but it's called a validator. And that's basically where nothing can go in the database unless it's that shape, which is, I would have that in a production app. Yeah. So here we have the job. We'll go ahead and get the job. If there is a job and it has an SEO and SEO report is not empty, then we're going to validate, which is basically this safe pass. Remember when I told you, and it'll make sure that the SEO report fits the shape. Yeah. And we actually have this, right, which we will build. That's going to be the final shape of the SEO report, which is quite big, by the way. So that's the bit where it differentiates you. And then you got, if there's no error, then it will return an error. Like, so if there is an error, sorry. We've also got a complete job, a failed job, which I'm going to just paste both those in now. A retry job. So look, complete job, failed job, a retry job. Let's go ahead and pop that in. Right. And you can honestly, again, all the code, I've given it to you. You can go check it out yourself. You've also got can use smart retry, right? Now this one, this is important. Check if a job can use smart retry. And what does smart retry mean again? It means it got past the scraper and it scraped data, but it basically did it have, what's it called? So let me just double check. Are we checking both here? Has analysis prompt and scraping data. So this one, I don't think we actually. So yes, I mean, this is a safe one. So really this means that if GPT passed and the scraping data passed, but for some reason you were stuck in a failed state, then we'll be checking for that. To be honest, I actually thought I got rid of this one, but I didn't get rid of this one. This is me being overly cautious when I was testing it. But yeah, but typically the flow should be this. It should be, if you've scraped with BrightData and then you come into, and then it fails on the GPT analysis of the scraped data, we already stored the scraped data when it came back. So what we want to do is we're going to do a smart retry, which means we don't re-scrape the data. We just reapply the scraped data that we saved to GPT. And then we basically, because what can happen is when that scraped data goes into GPT, we specify an output schema. So imagine you're giving it a bunch of data and then you're saying, right, we want this output schema to look like this, exactly like this, which means it's kind of like squeezing it into the output schema. And sometimes it can't pass it the way, and you might run into this where it'll say cannot pass output data. So that can happen. And all of that is actually down to your prompt, which means that when you work with LLMs, there is an element of fuzzy logic, which means the quality of your prompt can drastically change your output. Can you make a freelance job platform next video? Jay, that's a very good idea, actually. Freelance job platform. Write that one down. That could be amazing. We could make a Fiverr clone. I have a wicked tech stack for that. Thank you. I'm going to do that. Can you smart retry? That's a very good idea. Yeah. Thank you, dude. I was debating what my next app was. That's a very good idea. Reset job for analysis retry again. So this one we set to analyzing, but the SEO report is undefined, right? Clears analysis results, but keeps scraping data. And then we've got get job by snapshot ID. This one is pretty self-explanatory. This one you pass in a snapshot ID and user ID. And then the big part is just, this is like a proper validation to prevent errors. It can return that or no. It basically just filters out to match your snapshot and user ID. Okay. And then it will do a safe pass to make sure it passes our SEO schema check. And then we've also got get user jobs. Again, quite big, which this one is here. We've got get user jobs. What this is doing is it takes no arguments. It checks who is logged in because we're calling this from the front end. In order to use context.auth, you have to wrap the child component, which is making the TAN-stack style query, which is use query, has to be wrapped in an authenticated block from Convex. If you don't, you'll get an error at this point. So now you know. And then in this case, you do your parsing, you make sure loop through all of the jobs that return, because it could be several jobs. And then for some reason, so obviously many jobs you could have scraped like we did on our one. And then it maps them through, make sure it passed validation and return the jobs. That way we're type safe everywhere. And the final one is a delete job. Okay. Now we're happy. That's done. Now, the only thing with this is we don't have this SEO schema. Now, what is that? It's a pretty big file. I'll explain it. I'll show you it. Now, what we want to do is in our lib folder, I'm going to pop it in SEO schema. Now, what is this doing? Firstly, we need to install Zod. So I or add Zod. Zod is a awesome tool that we use to enforce types effectively, right? Especially when you're using ORMs or you're using anything where you need to shape data or draw kind of derive schemas from. So in this case, you can see we've got the base schema. So we've got the sources, the evidence schema, the source schema. Now, what is all of this? Why is any of this even a thing? Well, basically, look at this one, the main SEO reports. It took me a long time to build it into this way. So this is why this is actually a very valuable stream. Honestly, very valuable, because I basically did a lot of hard work for you to find out what makes an SEO report quite valuable and what can we do with the data that we're pulling as well as an LLM. So within our limitations, how effective can we get at deriving valuable information? I had to figure that out as well as build this app, right? So basically I've shaped this all for you. So we've got metadata, which scrapes entity names, types, analysis, date sources, confidence scores, inventory, which basically it refers to different domains, where you might be seen, for example, social media accounts, professional accounts, educational sectors, community, all of these different things. Now, if you could scroll down, content analysis, you got loads of stuff, keywords. This is all the SEO stuff, right? Now, why are we doing this? So again, you can grab this file directly. I'm not going to literally keep on screen. You can grab this file directly from the code base. And you can see we've even created types at the bottom to make life very easy down the line, because we're going to need to reference these types, right, to safely access them. Firstly, this is extremely strong type check-in. And secondly, this is effectively, we scrape from Perplexity with BrightData. We pass that scraped data to OpenAI GPT using Vercel AI SDK. Once we have that, we're saying, okay, analyze this data, look at it, give me the information. And this is the exact schema that I want it out in, the analysis in. That is what this is doing. So we go from Perplexity scraped over to OpenAI, and we basically analyze the hell out of it. And then we say, once you've analyzed it, give it to me in this format. And this is exactly what I'm shaping it in. So imagine if I wrote random things in this schema, it would probably fail because it can't derive that information. And then I strictly say don't hallucinate, which still means it could, but it more so doesn't. TypeScript is used to enforce types. What's different types in Zod? Zod is enforcing, more so it's like just Google Zod, you'll see for yourself, right? Or if you really want to find out, go and open your agent on the side. Prime example of just how to use this stuff better, just explain Zod for newbies, right? For newbies. And then bam, in a moment, you'll get the difference. And you can say, what's the difference? What is odd? It's data validator that helps you, blah, blah, blah. Define the shape of your data, validate incoming data, get TypeScript types automatically, right? So you can basically go ahead and do that. Why use Zod? It gives you lots of examples. In my opinion, see, this is how you can self-teach in a lot of ways, right? So yeah, that's Zod. Cool. So we have that down, SEO schema. Now we have this. So why is that freaking out? Did I export it? Let's see. SEO schema. SEO report schema. Interesting. So right. So typically what this means is that in our TS config, I probably changed one thing and I added a lib. So, there you go. Why is it 2 TS configs? TS config. Why is there a TS config in our Convex? No, I don't want that. Get rid of that. We've got a higher level one. Yeah, there you go. TS config is basically where it figures out where the aliases are. So my app was clashing with the TS config there, which is why that was happening. Okay. So that's that done. We can close scraping jobs. Then we have this now. So in this case, query number is not assignable of type, argument type query numbers. So let me, what have I list numbers, scraping jobs, my functions. Oh yeah. So we can get rid of the my functions. I was wondering where the hell did that file come from? We don't need that. We can get rid of the readme. Don't need that. Schema, that's all good. Yep. And then HTTP. Now we can carry on with this. So, okay, we're back. So we've got the API webhook. Well, actually, no, start scraping. We didn't finish. Right. Now you can see all the errors at that point were gone. Heading back down here. Now we call the BrightData. Okay. So remember, just to give you a bit of a reminder, we are at this point where you enter Sonny Sangha, for example, and we call a server action. Okay. So we've called the server action start scraping, comes down here, tries to retry if it was an existing action. So for example, if there was an existing job ID, it'll try to do that because we use start scraping in another place as well. And then what do we do? So here, what I want you to do is we're going to say const URL, retry analysis is done as well. Yep. So actually we need to do the analysis one as well. So we'll do that after. But yes, I would. So let's firstly go ahead and build our URL. So we have a URL and then we have a perplexity prompt that we're going to pass. So a few things. Firstly, that's the API, BrightData datasets. We pass this, and dataset ID is actually an important part that I didn't do here correctly. So here, this is actually your ID, dataset data. So now I completely didn't, I forgot to change that bit in the code. So if you go to your platform, what you'll find is here, your dataset ID will vary. It'll be different to my dataset ID. So that one there. So dataset ID, and then we can set that value here, BrightData dataset ID. So, and notice how we're on the server action, so that we'll be able to find that. Right, so mlocal. Let's do it here. Minus equals ID. And then I have the value stored, which is this one. Well, this one, BrightData. Now, because we're on a server here, we don't need to write, because we're on a server, we do not need to write a next public, right? Because we're calling it from server now. If there's no dataset ID, we can throw an error there. It's fine. We've got the URL, and then the endpoint, and then we pass in the encoded endpoint, which is effectively the webhook that we're sending to. This is the webhook. So really, that's not actually endpoint. That's the webhook URL. So that one is actually let's just say we have webhook URL, and this is encoded webhook URL, which we can change there. That makes more sense. Okay. And then we have the perplexity prompt. Now this build perplexity prompt, we need to create that afterwards. But imagine we passed in the prompt and it gave us a really nice big perplexity prompt. Okay, so we're going to do that afterwards. And then we have the try catch bot. Now I'm going to pop it all in and then I'm going to explain it line by line. So we have a try catch. Now let's go through it. The try is the fetch. Now where are we getting all this from? Here, effectively, right? We're rebuilding this out now. So we have a fetch where we pass in our URL. It's a post request. We are passing in our BrightData key as our bearer key. That's how we're basically authorizing it. In the body, we pass in the input. The input has the country, perplexity.ai, and the perplexity prompt, right? Then we have custom output fields. Remember, you can define which one, which fields you want. So I'm only including these fields. Then what we do is we say, if the response is not okay, we're going to go ahead and mark the job as failed. Okay. Where am I actually? Oh yeah. We're going to go ahead and mark the job as failed. Okay. And then we're going to return an error, right? If that was the case, right? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get the JSON data. And then this is just safely nullifying it. That's basically what's happening there if an error was to happen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to extract the snapshot ID. We're going to save the snapshot ID. So update job with snapshot ID. See, that's why it's easier declaratively doing this like that. So rather than having one call with several different arguments, sometimes you can just have these calls which make sense, right? And then that way you don't actually need to even have many comments. And then if it's all good, we return that, which means that we started the job. Here's the data and the job ID of what we started in the database. If it failed, we mark it as failed in the database and we return an error, okay? Now, what do we need to do? Well, the perplexity prompt, right? So inside of a new folder, we're going to create a folder down here called prompts, and we're going to create one called perplexity prompt, or I can just pop it in. I'll show you. So we have perplexity. Now, get ready for a big prompt. Here we have it. So it's a function which returns an interpolated string. That's why we've got backticks here. You're an SEO research assistant specializing in comprehensive entity analysis. So, and then we basically pass in a target and we give it clear instructions as to this is what I am looking for. Okay. So prime example of what this is doing effectively is, let's go ahead and say for a second, just as an example, I was to go ahead and say of Sonny Sangha, or let's just do Apple, for example, of Apple, and then let's do target Apple. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this for an example now, and let's go over to perplexity. So I'm going to grab that, cut it, yep, hit save. Now let's go over to perplexity for a second, perplexity. Now, what you're going to see is that if I pop that in, this is effectively what's happening on BrightData scrapers. So we'll go ahead and it'll do this. And look what Perplexity is doing. There again, this is an answer engine. So you see what it's doing. Now it's gathering the data, reviewing the sources, giving us a bunch of data. And then it's going, Apple is in this entity, professional background and achievements. This is effectively what the scraper is going to scrape from. It's scraping the sources. It's scraping the data here. It's scraping key metrics, notable projects, community impact and reach, geographic presence and locations. And then BrightData is literally scraping this. So the prompt that I gave it is giving us this source categorization, example source table. You see, and this is giving us all of the compares and so forth. So we're literally building it in a way where BrightData goes away, does this, scrapes this data. Why is this more powerful? Because what it's doing is this is an answer engine optimized app, which is pretty damn powerful. And again, this is generative content. So effectively, this is, people are asking questions all the time. And then this is what a perplexity and, these kind of things are optimized for. And you see how it can use its own tools to basically go ahead and look, backlink profile. It can go ahead and tell you a bunch of stuff, just give it a source as well. Okay. You don't actually need a perplexity subscription. That's the very cool thing. BrightData handle that. So very good question, Yetish. Yeah. You don't need that. Right. So in this case, say for example, that did it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go back to our scraping. Let's go ahead and say, now we've got our perplexity prompt. Cool. So what we can now do is the start scraping job can happen. Okay. So go back over to our start scraping. And now you see, we've got these errors here. Why is that? So I actually made a slight slip here with start scraping where I forgot to make these optional. So existing job is optional, and this one is freaking out. Why? So prompt and country. So expected one argument, but got 3. Interesting. Start scraping. Ah, sorry. Yeah, I passed this in as an object. That's wrong. That should be like so. Oh, you know what? I've written this stupid way. Const async. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna rewrite this as what I want it to be, which is this. I've made a mess of this. Give it up. Yeah, there you go. And then we can export default, start scraping. There you go. So what we're doing is we're passing in 3 arguments: prompt, which is string; existing job ID, optional, and it's a string; and country, which is a string, which is US. I prefer arrow syntax way more. It's just cleaner. Yeah. Now there you go. All right. So with that in mind, now we can go ahead and do it. And what this will do is, if we've done it all correctly, this will issue a scraping job, and it will do it in the way that we expect. So how can we test all of this? Well, we need 2 things up at once, and we can test it. So first, I'm going to have the scraper open. Let's have our logs open at first. So here, this is the wrong scraper. Using amazing me list of amazing features of interest in list of interest. What do you mean? I'm confused, dude. But let's go ahead and do web scrapers. We have I think I need to initialize it once to try even do it. So Sonny Sangha generate US. Let's see. So that did it. It directed me afterwards to the /reports page for that job. Now let's see, that would have created a, oh yeah, you can see, oh okay, so it's using my same scraper. Oh, I see, I didn't create a separate one. So yeah, same for you. So in this case, search by scraper. Let's go here. As you can see, if we go to logs, we have a running job. There you go, it's running. Perfect. Right, so that's running. You see the snapshot ID, right? So it actually ran, and you can see the delivery method will be webhook. So once it's done, it will be a webhook. So this will run now. And again, some take longer, some take less. It depends on the prompt, the keywords. Certain keywords take a lot longer to search because it might be scanning, checking, and so forth. So it's always worth knowing that in any of this logic, that's going to count for something, right? Your prompt and how you write it. Now, what do we do next? I want to show you that, yes, that went through. But what also happened, which will interest you, is if we go to our Convex backend, here, and let's go to our data, what you'll find is in scraping jobs, we see a scraping job. Sonny Sangha is the original prompt. It's running the snapshot ID, the user, or the person who done it, and you can see for yourself. Right, that's pretty cool. First, let's delete the old table as well. We don't need that. Cool. We've got scraping jobs working. Cool. So now what we need to do is quickly, probably, I mean, we're not going to beat it, I don't think, but in this case, we need to, right now, that's set a job off, which has got a webhook URL that it's going to fire the results to. So we don't actually, we have a webhook in the Convex HTTP file. So this one, remember? But we didn't implement the webhook. So right now it's just going to hit that and it's going to fail. That's the truth. And if you want to look down here, what you can actually see is, and I recommend you actually split your terminal at this point. So you can see that we're mixing terminals here. If I was you, I would do a pm dev backend. So I'll do pm front end on the left, and on the right, I'm gonna do pm. And remember, this is because I've got I started this up with the Convex scripts, right? So it's giving me these nice little, that's going to be backend, that's going to be front end, that's going to be backend. And if you look in package.json, if you ever get confused about scripts, you can see all of the scripts. So backend is just running that, front end is doing that. So in this case, now I've split the two because you want to ideally see logs that come and hit the backend, which will happen, by the way. So when it hits our endpoint, our webhook, everything that you see, the live webhooks, they also stream through here. I know, it's cool. I thought it was very cool. Guys, if you're enjoying this video, smash that like button, destroy the like button. Good morning, team amazing. Lots of prayers for you guys. I appreciate you. Right. Yes, I do. Right. So in this case, let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go to HTTP and let's start creating this job. Okay. So, I mean, at some point that will come back when the job finishes, but it's going to fail at the moment. So let's go ahead and pop this in and let's start implementing our webhook. Okay. So what we want to do is we have a try catch block. So we're going to go ahead and firstly receive the webhook data. Now, I'm not doing something, but you should be doing it really. Whenever you receive any webhook data, you should be verifying via a signature. I'm not doing it, but I'm mentioning it because this build is pretty damn big. Verify with a signature, cool. If you don't know what that looks like, check out Stripe webhooks. They tend to make you do it by force. But yeah, you should be verified. And that means that, because right now I could technically send any job to that webhook, right? And if I know the shape of it, I can damage what's behind it. So you need to have like a secret signature verification key or code that is basically only there, right? That only you know. The URL, we're going to create a URL from the URL query params, and then we're going to get the job ID. And then we're going to say if there's no job ID, we're going to go ahead and do that. And then basically I need to firstly, remember, all this is doing is delivering data from BrightData to my endpoint. It doesn't have any idea of our database. So at this point now, I need to fetch the job from our database. So here I say, find the job by ID. And you see, look, context of run query, API scraping jobs, get job by ID. And this is where it benefits to be in a Convex function where we're also having our internal functions, such as, like this is a get job ID, or, that's not actually an internal function. That's just a normal query. But if it was an internal one, you'd be able to access it because you're still in the Convex ecosystem, right? So that's quite nice. Now, if there was no job, we're going to throw an error. So we're going to go in for an error now. Yeah, that's so. And then we've got step one. We're going to firstly save the raw scraping data, right? First from BrightData. That's very important because basically if it ever failed after that, we don't want to, scraping can take a long time sometimes. We don't want to have to go ahead and make sure that, we want to make sure that if we've scraped once, we shouldn't have to rescrape again. Step two, this part is the really cool part. We're going to use Convex's scheduler. Now, why would I want to do this? So if I was to basically run OpenAI's analysis in the webhook, webhooks shouldn't last long. Webhooks should be a case of if you hit them, they do something and then they return, oh, okay, that was success. Right? You shouldn't be doing heavy, intensive stuff inside of a webhook. They're not designed for it. They typically time out very quickly as well. So what you should be doing is executing scheduled functions elsewhere in your own ecosystem. For example, what we're going to do is basically from our webhook, we're going to basically, update database records and this, that very quickly. And then we're going to basically schedule an analysis job in our own cloud functions. And I'll show you how. So we do context.scheduler.run after 0, which means run right now, basically run after 0 milliseconds, whatever. And then we say internal analysis, run analysis. Now we haven't created the analysis file yet, but we will do that. And basically this is going to be our AI analysis. Okay. After that, we're going to console log saying analysis scheduled for job and then webhook returning immediately. Okay. So you see, and also look right now, look, it came back. So the job must have finished and you can see, look, the job did finish. That's all scraped data. Look, Sonny Sangha. That's awesome, right? The job finished, but it didn't know what to do with it because we haven't finished our webhook. So that just goes to show you it's actually working, right? Really, really cool. And by the way, if you go into your backend over here and you go into functions and you go into your API webhook and you go into logs, pow, you can see it right there, which is awesome, right? So it's literally showing you that that's the data that we scraped, that webhook received data. Bam. That is cool. Tell me in the comments. I thought that was so cool when I saw that. Because I don't know why I didn't know about that before. But I can guarantee you I'm gonna use that a lot. Right? And then we return a success statement, right? Because once you've scheduled the job in regards to the webhook, it's done. Its job is finished, right? Now after, if anything happened, well, firstly you get rid of these. We don't need that. If anything happened, we're gonna error out for the webhook. Then we're going to go ahead and update a few things accordingly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first go ahead and say set the job status to failed. So if there was a job that we have from above, we're going to go ahead and fail the job. So scraping jobs failed job. So update our database, give the reason why it failed. Say job marked as failed and then console error. And then if a schema validation error, provide a more specific feedback. Right, so in case why did it fail? And then this will typically give you a bit of more response. And then we'd return back a 500. Okay. So that in itself is going to do, it's effectively what we need. Now, this won't work yet because we need an analysis file. So analysis.ts. And this file is where we do effectively all of our OpenAI scraping. Okay. So this is going to be think of this as our actions file. So this means like our scheduled functions file. Now, or you can see here, we have cloud functions which are set up, right? Scraping jobs, all the ones we've done. What you can do is in scheduled, you can automatically schedule these functions to run at given points. So that's what our webhook is doing. Our webhook is receiving data and then it's saying, oh, schedule that one, schedule that one, schedule that one. And that's what it's effectively doing, right? And then the scheduled functions can last much longer. They can be bigger, intensive functions. So that is what we're effectively doing here. So then it's in our ecosystem, okay? So the signature for this is as follows. So it's quite a big chunk. Maybe what I do is I explain the whole thing to you. Well, firstly, we have remember this action. So this is the file, right? So run analysis is an internal action, which means it can only be called from another Convex function, such as this internal analysis. So here we are in a Convex webhook or a route, right? This is in the Convex ecosystem, which means we can call internal functions. If I tried to call this from my app, it will not work. It will say it's not found. So this is why it's an internal action. If we made it a normal action, it could be exposed to my Next.js app and all that kind of stuff, okay? So this takes a job ID, returns nothing. It's just going to run an analysis. And then it's basically going to say started AI analysis for a job. Firstly, get the job and its raw data. So we get the job from our database. If there's no job, we handle it. If there's no results, we handle it. And then we run a mutation. We say, set the job to analyzing. Step 1, we generate a comprehensive SEO report using structured output. Now, what does that mean? Well, firstly, we basically will go ahead and we check in, is it an array? In which case we just give a singular object or we pass it back as an array. And then, what's it called? Here, we're going to go ahead and do analysis prompt. So we need to build an analysis prompt. Now, we don't have this yet. This is the GPT prompt. Okay, so we had a prompt for Perplexity. We need one for GPT now. Okay, so GPT, let's go ahead and pop in our prompt for GPT, which is over here. So GPT. Now this one, we have a bit of a scraping data item style, interface over here. System prompt. This is going to be the system prompt that we give it, right? You're an expert SEO analyst specializing in comprehensive website and entity analysis. Now, bear in mind, your prompt, if you differ it, could make better results than mine. Yours could make worse results than mine if you change it. Prompt engineering is a skill in its own, right? Writing good prompts is a skill in its own. So in this case, you can feel free to iterate and all this and that. And this is how you can get edges on other people who have the exact same app as you. Your prompts could just be way more better and work better with LLMs. So that's where there is a real gold mine rush with AI SaaSes as well. Okay, so you receive scraping data. The task is generate a comprehensive report, critical rules. I've gave it a bunch of really important rules. And obviously I figured all this out. Entity classification. So I've basically gone ahead and used LLMs and a bunch of research techniques to basically go ahead and derive what is important inside of an SEO report. And this is effectively what it is. So you guys can feel free to check the code, see for yourself, and the output requirements must only return valid JSON matching the SEO report interface. Now it doesn't know what that is. So we've actually done that in code, right? And then here we've got also the analysis prompt. Now remember, that's a system prompt. We give that as a system prompt before we pass in our prompt. This is the analysis prompt that as the user role we send, right? So this takes scraping data and then it formats the data in a specific way. And then it says, please analyze the following scraping data and generate a comprehensive SEO report. So this is the user data, and the above was the system data, which is how you prepare the agent. So before we even send a message to it, it's prepared with a system message. That's what it should do. And then the user sends their message, which is this one. Okay. So we pass in the scraping data, we stringify the JSON. It says generate complete SEO report following the system prompt guidelines, return only the JSON response matching the SEO report interface structure. Now here, there's no enforcement of a schema. And I'll show you where we do that, okay? So let's carry on. So we've got this build analysis prompt. We have that now. Generating SEO report for job, run mutation. We saved the original prompt. So that's very important. The one that you just saw where we generated it, we actually saved that to the database. So if you want to debug it, I can run that in GPT by itself. If I run it in GPT and it runs and it gives me an output, I know that GPT can handle my prompt because I've literally got all the data there. It can handle the prompt. The problem is in my code then. So you see it debugging layers to it. Now we've saved the prompt, and then this is where the magic happens. So this is Vercel AI SDK. Okay, so let's pause here for a second. Let's go over to Vercel AI SDK Next.js. Now they do have V5. I'm going to be talking about the one that is in the docs today, but you can feel free to use V5 as you wish. So in this case, we're going to do next app router, and here we have it. So this command, right? So you see, even they recommend Zod as well. You also need the OpenAI API key. So yes, you will need an API key, right? Nothing is free anymore, guys. So what did I copy? I'm sorry, I've gone blank. Yeah, okay, so we need to install. So here, let's go ahead and install. So also right now you can see that's freaking out because we don't have our dependencies. And if you're wondering, how do you install dependencies, Sonny, into a Convex environment? That's why you put use node at the top. Otherwise, it's in a Convex environment. So whenever you have lots of dependencies like AI SDK and all these ones, you have to go ahead and put use node. And then you see analyzing and deploying source code. It will figure out and it will match to the dependencies in Convex. That's why this will take a little bit of a second, then it will deploy. Okay, because it has to install the dependencies on the Convex Cloud Function and then give it to you. And then you see Convex functions ready, so it did it. So you want to be keeping an eye on all of these, right? Next time someone says it's saying full stack development, shut up. There you go. Okay, said it. Right, so there you go. This is a full stack development. I'll say it twice. All right. So in this case, we have that down. Interaction. Where were we? It was. Oh, it's a big app. So we just did. We were in HTTP. We just did that. Then we did. Wow, how have I gone blank of that? Vercel AI SDK. There we go. Which was in the analysis, which was in run analysis. I don't know. Okay, we did this bit. Oh my god, how did I go blank for a second? Auth HTTP schema. Someone remind me. God, I've completely gone blank. So we can check anyway, because we can go here, do a command F find. Here we are. We are back in analysis. There we are. Oh, yeah, here we are. Generate SEO report. Here we are. Generate object. Yeah. So generate object. So what we're doing here is, this is important, guys. So you got to pay attention, right? So what we're doing is we're basically generating an object, and you can hover over it and you can see for yourself. Now you can see generate a structured typed object for a given response and schema using a language model. So first thing, we can pass in a model. Now I'm using GPT 4.0. You can even use 5. You can use whatever you want, really. Like, they got loads of models, yeah. You have to give it a key. Right now it's not got a key. It's not going to work. Right? And also bear in mind, are we in Convex? Yes, we're in Convex. So which means I don't even add a key here. You can use a key in the env local, because we are going to need to use one. So here I'm going to add an OpenAI key, because it will automatically try and find this one. So I'm going to do OpenAI AI API key, and I've already got a secret key, so I'm going to go ahead and use that one right now. But what you can do is you can go to platform.openai here. So platform.openai.com, and then see, is it here? If I'm logged into that one, platform.openai.com, and then what you can do is you can go to API keys, you can create a new key, enter a name, and you'll get a key there. Okay, so once you've done that, I've already done that. I'm going to hide my key though, because I ain't showing you guys my key. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in right now. So oops, I gave the wrong one. Okay, now I have that key saved and I've closed my environment file. Now, as I mentioned, that's not the only place it's needed, because that's going to work on Next.js and in our server, but not in Convex cloud, right? In any of the cloud functions or any of that. So what we have to do is we have to go to our Convex settings, environment variables. We have to add the OpenAI key here. So we're going to do OpenAI API key like so, and I'm going to paste in the key right here. So you thought I was going to slip, didn't you? I pasted it in, and then I hit on. You can also paste in the environment file in here, and it will also do the same thing. But there you go. I've gone ahead and pasted that in. Now let's go back to my playlist because I think we're finished on Jay's playlist. There we go. Yeah. So now we have that saved. So now we can use it in the Convex environment. And remember, when you change your production, you also need to update these as well. So you can have a test key, production key, and so forth. Okay. Invalidate all keys. Yes. So once that's done, now we go back over here and you can see the model will work because it will automatically, using this library, search for that, by the way, right? So it automatically searches for the OpenAI key when you use Vercel AI SDK in that exact name. So yes, we'll be looking for process.env.openAI key. So it auto uses that. Okay. So now what we do is we pass in the system prompt, which we've already declared here. Okay. And then we have analysis prompt, which is the one where we passed in the scraping data and we built it from it. Remember this one? Analyze the following data and scraping, blah, blah, blah. So it's got a system prompt, it's got a analysis prompt. It automatically will do token caching, I believe, after a certain character limit. And then schema, this is the golden line here, schema. So what we're doing here is we're passing, remember that big schema we defined with Zod? And this is what is telling the LLM, okay, here's your system prompt, here's your analysis, but you need to return it to me in that schema. Now that will take some time to run. Okay, because it could be a little bit longer, whether or not it's a big bit of data. So this is why this entire flow is basically asynchronous, right? Now, console log SEO report generated successfully. Once it comes back, step 2 would be save the report to the database, and then we log it out. Step 3, go ahead and say complete the job. And that's important because on the front end, we'll see that status change in real time because Convex is real time by default. Okay. If there was an error now, what we do is we go ahead and say that it failed, and then we go ahead and we console log it out and we basically return the issue. Okay. So that is the analysis. Okay. Now that will run analysis runs when we do, remember our HTTP. So heading back over here now. So this will actually happen where, remember, the webhook gets hit, schedules that analysis, and then the webhook returns success. So really that is the whole flow, right? That's actually the entire BrightData to GPT flow. Okay, so now what we should be able to check, guys, is if we go to localhost 3000, and what I can do is I can open up a perfect setup here. So what we can do is that's our website. Let's open up on this side the data. Let's open up on the middle. Let's do BrightData. There we go. And then let's have the logs somewhere. Where's the logs? There we go. All right. So, why is that frozen? That's strange. Oh yeah, there we go. So here's our logs in a moment. We'll have the logs in a sec. So here we have the logs. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to overlay these onto that so I can see everything in one. All right, cool. So let's do the following. If I type in Sonny Sangha, US, fine, generate. Now, what's going to happen is you see it created a job right there, Sonny Sangha. This one is now going, it tried to redirect me to a report page, but the main thing is it's running. If I check here now, refresh the page, this one will now have a job running. Okay, that's awesome. Once that's done, I've gone through my credits. Once that's done, I've paid for my own credits. Once that's done, we have, you get $20, by the way, by you going through my link in the description. Once that's done, this will hit my webhook. Okay. Once it hits the webhook, it will change to analyzing. No, it will change to scraping, sorry. Right. So this will become, I believe it's either scraping or, yeah, scraping first, I believe. No, so it's here. So it's pending, running. So running will also be when it's, this is scraping right now. What am I saying? This is scraping right now. Then it goes to analyzing when it is basically goes through. So it goes from running. When running finishes, it hits the endpoint, the webhook. When the webhook goes ahead and the webhook then sends a job to its scheduler, which is our analysis. When the analysis happens, we change it to analyzing, right? Then when analyzing finishes in our scheduled function, it changes to completed. If anything fails at any of those points, it goes to failed. And then when it's failed, if you try and retry your job, what happens? It goes to, if it does smart retry and it already has scraped data, it'll just go back to analyzing. If it didn't have scraped data, it'll go back to running, which means it's scraping again. I built all of that. Yeah. So the next time someone tells you that vibe coding will tell you that whole flow, good luck. Okay. So that's absolute facts. You need to know your stuff to build cool stuff. So there you go. That's running there. That's why I've given you the code here as well, because there's a lot for you guys to digest with that, right? So that let that do its thing, kind of run on its own. We can come back to that one. We can come back to that one. Let's just go ahead and do a local host over here. Keep that running. That's my own error. That's my own profile error. So here's the issue. So here you can see we've got the report / the report ID, and that's what we're not seeing, right? How much do you vibe code? The thing is, I don't vibe code. Vibe code is the trend of you go on and you just type something in and then you let it do its thing and then you accept it. And then you keep iterating. I don't do that. I do assisted coding, where basically I will get it maybe to go and, change the look of that thing, go and do your thing, right? Yeah, I never accept its code just blindly, ever. Especially not for architectural stuff. Never for architectural stuff, okay? Maybe for database manipulations, queries, yeah, it's pretty easy stuff. But I don't vibe code in the traditional sense of what you think, where it's, you just type a prompt and you just let go and you kind of forget about it and then just trust that it does everything, right? What AI models should we try to use for SEO analysis? I'm not familiar with the best models, but it's a golden question, because it could be, it really depends, because models get better over time. Certain models are better at certain things. GPT-5, if you got lots of tool calls, is very, very good. So I would recommend you maybe look into that when you want to do that. Let's change this to light. What's happening here? Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So GPT-5 is very good for the tool calls. Oh, thank you so much, Zotan. We got a donation as well. I appreciate you, dude. And then somebody also said, I usually generate blueprints and guidelines and tasks before generating code with AI. Yep, exactly. The more context you can give AI, the better. Okay. Awesome stuff. Right. So that is working. Right. Now, if we go over here, you can see we're just going to keep checking on this every now and then, and we're going to see for ourselves when it changes. And that'll be pretty cool when it does. Right. So that one's actually on that screen, so we can get rid of it. And then we've only got this one here. So what I might do is I might shift that over there, and we'll keep our right screen. And this is why I would say when you're doing lots of big projects, have several screens, guys. Invest in it. If I can tell you one thing, is invest in your stuff. Like, I will happily do that. See, that one's still doing its thing, running. There you go. That's what I wanted. All right. So much love. Thank you so much. I can always with you and JS. Thank you so much, Zotan. I appreciate you so much. Right. So once we go to that next screen, right? Well, right now it's a 404. We need to create that page, right? So let's create that page. So app, and it's going to be was dashboard report ID. Yep. So dashboard report / wildcard, which is this square brackets ID. Oops, ID, which means it could be any value in there, and then a page there. Page.tsx, right? You can use multiple desktops to separate the screen. So yeah, exactly. Rick says, I've got two 32-inch monitors and still feel like I need one more. Honestly, I've got, and I'm not flexing. I'm just mean like I relate to you hard. I've literally got 2 Pro XDRs, a prompter, and an iPad, and they're all connected to the setup. And it's still not enough. I feel like I always say to Jay, should I throw a huge screen up there? And then he's always like, I don't know if you should do that, man. He's always wanting to tell me off. So you guys can tell him off if we should get a 3rd screen. All right. Now, with that in mind, let's go. And we got the next thing is we want to go ahead and thank you so much, Matthew. You guys, good job. Papa Sonny, I appreciate you. So in this case, we're actually going to do a client render here. So yeah, we're going to do client side here. So you can do it two ways. You can do both really, but I'm just going to do client side because we've got a real-time listener here. Jay goes, absolutely not. There you go. So we can get params two ways. We can do it in the code. I've done it another way, but we can also use the use params. It's way easier, right? So const params, we're going to get the ID this way. That will give us the ID, this wildcard. I've got 8-inch and not useful for coding. You know, I say the same thing. Dude. I think it's very helpful to have that. I think it would be awesome to have that, like a huge monitor there, you know? And so I want to have a few things here. So first I need the user. I'm just going to pop these in to be fair, because I'm going to use all of this. So, okay, here we have it. We need use user from Clerk, use query from Convex. API comes from our Convex generated API. And then we have use transition from React. Remember I showed you the is method loading before. And we have React, we have route, use router is, no, don't do that. Use next navigation. Yep. Cool. Snapshot ID. Where is that? Right. So this one is because we are string is not assignable to that. So what is this saying? ID, param. So it's actually a string value, but we need to cast it to a number. So, oh, is it a number? No, what is this value? This is the string. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I was gonna say. Cool. So now we have those. What we're gonna do is we are firstly gonna double check some of the UI states. Okay. So we're gonna say if there is no ID, return a certain UI. If the job is undefined, or if the job is no, return things as well. So what do I mean by that? Well, here, let's import a couple of icons and here. Now, it's loading the report status. The report is not found. Okay. So that's the kind of statuses that we go through. So let's put this into practice firstly. So Sonny, let's just put Apple and then generate. And then what we'll see is we should go to that page in a moment. So that you see that? See when I refresh, loading report status, and then it pulls me through. Okay. So, Gabriel says, I love how Clerk, Convex, and Next.js has taken full stack dev to a new level. I use it over the MERN stack most of the time. 100%. I love that. It's so true. It's so true. It's just so goddamn good. And it goes 10 stack approach with the whole use query and all that kind of stuff. Queries, mutations, all that. I love it, right? Is there a reason you use React over Vue or Svelte? For me, I just think it's superior. I think it's just awesome. And it's got the most market share. So value-wise, 100% for me. Right now, UI, next part. This is a big chunk of UI, right? So I'll be honest, this whole report page, I think it's better I just show you the entire snippet and then we go through the actual functional parts of it. So the first point is if we're checking the report statuses, you know, when it's loading and so forth, let's go ahead and pop this in, and let's also do our import. So I can show you without it's screaming at me what's going on. So let's go ahead and import the card header. Get spinner color is a helper function. We need status badge. I need to install card description. We have card content, get progress bar start, another helper file text, Lucid, calendar, Lucid, format date time, another helper function, check circle, format date item, another helper function, X circle, icon, go down here. We've got a link from Next.js, the button from Chad Sian, a handle retry function we need to create, and then a link at the bottom saying back to dashboard. So these little helper utility functions and handle retry is what we need. So handle retry, let's just give it a signature right now. So let's pop it in like so. There you go. It's going to stop that error for now. The main issue right now is the helper functions. So these little mini ones that we have get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little folder inside a lib called status utils. And then inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and create. Oh, no. So I'm actually not going to create a folder. I'm going to create a status utils file. What am I doing? status utils.ts. Oh my God, status utils, utils.ts. There you go. I love this. The chat is popping off. Right. Let's go and see this. And let's pop these in. So again, all the code is in the description. I'll run through each one quickly. We have get spinner color. It basically takes the color, the status, sorry, gives you back certain styles based on the color. And we use these in Tailwind, right? Get progress percentage, again, for a progress bar that we have on screen. Get progress bar style, again. Get report style, switch statement for when things are ready. Get status message, again. You can even optimize this if you want, but yeah, you can take it as far as you want. Get status config. Here I have different basically UIs that will show on the screen based on which status you're in, right? So we do a switch on the, oh no, it's the status config. So basically it's depending on which one you're in. Now we have a format date and then format date time. So now that that's done, we can import all of our helper functions by doing the following, like so. And then we go down here, status badge. Now status badge is, I believe, a Shadcn component. So status badge is Shadcn status badge. No, I think we actually created that. Okay. That was a prime example of where I vibe code and I didn't do it and I forgot about it. So, so that part, yeah, I mean, I assumed that that was okay. So that's why it got past me. So here we have it. So status badge.tsx, very simple component, right? Just takes two things, status and show icon, literally uses our util, and it basically just renders out a badge. There you go. Okay. So super simple. Let's go back to our status badge, import that. And then let's go one up here. And you see we're not using these now because handle retry is where we do that. Now let's implement a handle retry and then we can test out our, oh, look at that. Oh, already looks beautiful, right? And also that told us something. That told us that the report is ready, which means that the whole flow worked because it wouldn't be ready unless it was through. So guys, look, oh, it did it. So we have one failed and we have one completed. This is good. We can see both. Okay, so this one struggled to match the schema. That can happen, right? So again, you can go through your prompts. You can see maybe iterate on your prompts, add more fail guards and that kind of stuff. But you can see this is the scraping results for Apple, where you got from Perplexity. Remember, I showed you how you can get these kind of things. And then the SEO report is from the results AI generated the exact kind of schema. You see that we've got a beautiful schema, and all of that I've done type safe because of observed validation. So that's awesome. And then we even have for debugging, we can see the original prompt. So no, the SEO prompt. So sorry. It's here, analysis prompt. So this is the please analyze the following scraping data, and you give the scraping data. So this is very handy for debugging, by the way. So what you can do is, say for example it failed, I would take that and I would go ahead and I would basically put that into GPT and look at what actually happened here. This one, the scrape seemed to not have done a full scrape. So sometimes that can happen. It's okay, which is why we built a retry mechanism. So it looks like it only returns sources for some reason. It could have been anything like it, that, you know. So this gives us an example of where we can do smart retry, and we can actually do it in a moment after. Yeah, okay. I've got a sick example right now. So let's do handle retry here, and then I'll show you both by going directly to those URLs, and I'll prove it works. So handle retry. Let's go and pop in. If there's no job return, we're going to set retry error to no, which is the UI error on the screen that was below. And then we have start transition. Now start transition is just a fancy way of doing set is loading to true, and then at the end of the transition it basically will do the set transition what is loading to false. That's effectively what a transition is doing, right? But in my opinion, I prefer doing transitions. I think it's just a nice thing in React, right? So you start a transition, you try and catch, and if anything, you know, fails here, it will make sure that there is pending is resolved, which is that there is loading. So start scraping, you see, and we pass in, look at this, guys. Let's start scraping. Let's go ahead and do this. And now you can see the original prompt and job ID. So look, I passed in the original prompt and the job ID. Awesome stuff, right? And then you can see result, okay, smart retry. Stay on same page, job will update in real time. Smart retry initiated staying on current page. Else, it will go ahead and replace you to a new snapshot, right? So let's see what this one can do. So in this case, I am on the screen of one that's working. However, you see this S is the snapshot ID. So let's go to the failed one. Let's see the snapshot ID, which is this one. Grab the snapshot ID. And then let's go into our URL and let's change it to the failed one. This is like, you couldn't make this a more perfect example right now. And look, report failed, damn it. Now what we do is we go into our console and let's do a retry report. So retrying, and you can see, look at that. Okay, let's see what it did on the back end now. So you can see, look, using smart retry. Look at that. Using smart analysis only for job. Starting some analysis only retry for job. There you go. Beautiful stuff. And now that will try and do another analysis. Okay. Now, yeah, I'll do another analysis. Now in this case, I mean, again, we could probably do a few things here because there could be edge cases like, you know, say the scraping didn't do it properly. Wouldn't you want manual retries to negate costs or limit the retries? Yeah, you can. 100%, absolutely. That's a very good point. I'm so glad you guys are locked in at that level. Wow, you 100% can do that. Obviously, we're limited in this build, guys, because it's already at the 3-hour mark and I still have to do it, like the results page and everything. But yes, you can. And I reckon if you took it to prod, 100% you should do stuff like that. You should make those decisions. That's what I would do in B2B, B2C SaaSes when we build it for clients. Okay. So now we don't need these two. Just get rid of those. Okay. So HTTPS looks good. What's erroring here? Okay. That one, I mean, the demo is good now. I can get rid of that one. Okay. So if anyone who made that page, there you go. It's cool. So next, what do we have? So, so a few things. So firstly, that's doing that. Now, if we go back to the dashboard, I want to see the list of things firstly. And also I want to then have the results page. So let's do those 2 pages and then we're going to do the AI chat and then we should be gold. I'm aiming for 4 hours. Okay. I think we've got this, guys. We have got this. We're going to smash this. All right. Just destroy that like button, guys. That's all I ask. Because this, can you imagine how much work this takes behind the scenes? Like my eyes are dark for a reason, right? The light just helps me look fresh, but this was a big build. I can promise you that. All right, PNPM DLX. That's why I'm giving the code for free as well because it gets pretty crazy. All right. Now we're actually by the way, we're past the hard part, so you can breathe now. This is where it just gets fun and it's more like presentational. Okay. So let's go into the side over here and then let's go ahead and import ShadCN table. So I'm going to need the table. What am I building right now? Gave you a like, brother. Sadly, wasn't there one stream side. Oh, good, Rick. I appreciate you. So, and plus, I love the interaction. It's just, you know that you just can't beat the energy. Even me and Jay will talk about this afterwards. You guys are just awesome, honestly. We have localhost 3001. There you go. So this is again. So I have a problem in Arc at the moment in one of my profiles where I can't load. Very annoying, and I don't know why it happens, but it's super frustrating. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't happen in my developer profile. So okay, we're gonna do this table. I'm also gonna have a deletion. So let's just say, for example, I want to delete one of my Sonny Sangha records. This delete action. Okay, so that's gonna happen. We're gonna build this table, and then we're gonna have it so when you click it, it takes you to that report which we just built, this bit, and then the final step would be the view full report, which is to have this, and you'll be amazed at how easy. Well, this bit's still a bit of work, but how easy it is to feature gate that. Okay. And then we have a full-fledged SaaS. So yeah, that's crazy. Right. So let's do the dashboard screen first. Right. So on the dashboard, we have at the bottom right now, we have the country selector. So in our dashboard, let's have a look. So at the bottom of the card, here we're going to have report section. So, yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the recent reports, the authenticator tab, which will show the reports table. And there's a reason why I'm going to do that, by the way. I put in authenticator because in there I do a deletion that I want to check to make sure you are the user. So we're going to use a direct call to the backend via Convex, and it's going to be a reason, right? So that makes sense afterwards. And reports table we're going to create. Okay, so reports table is a component. So reports table.tsx. Let's do RFCE. This is our reports table. And now let's go ahead and build this out. So a couple of things we need. Let's do our imports first. Did you do rate limiting to avoid too many usage of one person? Guys, I haven't implemented things like rate limiting and stuff like that, but you can. Honestly, feel free. Like, take this app as wild as you want. This was a ton of work to get for a live stream, and to be able to slim it down into a live stream is a ton of work as well. So yeah, but these are all good questions. Like, I love that you guys are asking these things. I'm actually very proud. So we've done our initial import. Let's do our use query, use mutation, use router, and then our state. So these are basically just, we're going to be using these shortly. One to get the jobs, one to delete the jobs. And this is what I love about the tan stack approach with Convex. Guys, you can just very, very, easily just make one line of code, and that's real-time jobs. Like, incredible, right? When we click on a row, we're going to have a helper function, which is going to be handle row click. Okay. That's going to basically to push us to the dashboard report. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and have a handle delete function where we clicked on that little bin icon, which I showed you already. That's going to firstly stop the propagation. It will say, are you sure you want to delete? And then it'll set deleting. Again, you can do this, or you can do a start transition hook, right? Delete the job. Again, we're doing a mutation from here. That will, again, because it's real time, we'll update jobs, which will then refresh the UI, which is awesome. We're going to account for if there are no jobs. It's quite funny as we build an AI agent clone. And then we're going to go ahead and do if job length is 0. Again, quite funny. So if there's no jobs, it means we're loading the report. But if the job's length is 0, that means there are nothing in the reports table. Okay. And then after that, we have effectively the entire layout aspect of it. Now, the layout part, I'm going to pull out and I'm going to show you exactly what we do here. So I'm going to make it bigger so you can see. So let's dive through this. So this is from Shadtian. We have a table layout, table header, table row, report, status, create, completed actions. Now let's have a look at ourselves. So firstly, let's pull this onto our dashboard so we can actually see the page, and then I'll run through it again. So let's go down here. Let's close that. And you guys can see for yourself, we have this nice table, right? So these are the headers right here on the top. Beautiful. Table body, we're mapping through the different jobs. When you can see that last one that failed is scraping now. And again, because of this and because of our, our status helpers, all of this is real time. And that just makes it so damn beautiful. Like, look, that is just so nice, guys. Right? Now here I've got the file text. If the job status is pending, we're going to basically determine the color of the loader. If it's pending, running, analyzing. When it's done, we don't show a loader. And then we have the original prompt and all that kind of good stuff. Now we have the table cells. Each one I'm rendering a different thing. The status badge is what represents these, right? So obviously we use that in a few areas. Then we have the button for the deletion, which is where we pass in job ID and just handle it. And then we will do, and then we have the summary of the stats. So yeah, so the summary is more of a UI, to be honest, right? It's just, I like this. I thought it looked pretty cool. So 3 total reports, 2 completed, 1, scraping, view, click on your report. And now let's just try to delete Sonny Sangha. So just delete that, click it, boom, gone, works. I was so confident it was going to work. That's why I did it. Click that, takes us to our report status screen, and it's looking fresh, right? That's awesome stuff, right? So that's really nice right now. You can see that's perfect. If we click on view report, we don't have a summary page. So that is our next step. Let's go ahead and create a summary page. So we're going to do that in front of the report ID. So where we have that page, we're going to create a /summary. And then inside of here, we're going to have page.tsx RFCE. And then we have the summary page. Well, this is at the SEO report page, I guess, but doesn't really make a difference, right? So the summary page, right? Now, I hope you're ready for this one because this one is chunky, right? So here we have a use client. And what I've done is I've abstracted this to make it a bit easier to understand, make things a lot cleaner and everything like that. So firstly, let's add our imports, bunch of stuff. Now this is the bit where we abstracted. So what I've done here is in the summary page, we're going to have a UI folder with each of the individual parts that we're going to have inside. So let's say, for example, I click into a report, I click for report. Each of these UI components is going to be inside of our UI folder, right? And then they're going to accept the SEO report data and then render accordingly. Why do we want to do this? Because we create a presentational layer that we can separate from our logical layer. Now I'll show you what that means. So, or our functional layer. So at this point now, what we're going to do is we're going to first grab our params. So we're going to say const. We have the ID, so we can say const ID equals use params. Okay. And that's going to be for next nav. And then we're going to need the user. So I'm going to grab the user like so. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and have a use query, which is going to get job by snapshot. Okay. So it's going to be a real-time connection to our job. Now we have the SEO report, right? If the job.SEO report is there, then we're going to render out things in the front end. So we've got a couple of cases. If it's undefined, it means it's loading. If it's no, it means it came back and nothing was found. And then we have, if there is no SEO report, the report wasn't found. So we've covered, used no properly to make sure we can actually account for when it wasn't found. So you can even here, you could even do if this or if not SEO report, and then you can actually effectively remove this. So you could even do that, right? That makes it a little bit cleaner. 1 minute, what's happened here? Sorry. SEO report, get rid of that. Yeah. So if the job is no or there's no SEO report, you can do report not found. Same thing. Yeah. And then what I want to do is I want to have it as simply lean as possible. As simply like, I want the presentation to be very simple here. So now when you look at this bit of code, that's very easy to understand what's going on, right? So this is a big thing which can separate a junior from more of a senior developer. It's something that I look for in my teams. If they're watching right now, pay attention. But effectively, this is where we have our separation of concerns, because now what I can see is okay, the summary header, overall scorecard, key metrics, and also if I want to move around elements, it's a lot easier. And you can see I can just basically these bigger elements, which should always take up the width of the space. Then what we do is we have our containers at the higher level handle the layout, and it's way simpler to visualize, right? And also this clerk billing. So clerk billing here is the key part, because as you can see, we've got the protect wrapper. And what this is doing is it's rendering a fallback if you don't have the pro plan. Otherwise, it will render the pro feature. And this is why it's so easy, because let's say, for example, I wanted key metrics to be a pro feature. Well, I could, if they're next to each other, I could do that. If they're not next to each other, let's just say, for example, key words analysis grid was another pro feature. I can go ahead and pop that over here and just do that. And now I've literally, just as easy as that, gone ahead and feature gated that. And then obviously I would create a different fallback that would show if you didn't have the pro. I would say maybe blur it out or a placeholder or something like that. So it's that simple, right? You can do it at the server render level or the client render level. If you do it at the client render level at the moment, Clerk give you this higher order component you can wrap. If you do it at the server render level, you've got these functional hooks that you can use. Well, not hooks, functional bits of code you can use. Okay, so now we're going to create each of these individual things, right? Now here, what we're going to do is we have to basically create these components. Now this pattern You might see it in some of your companies, but it's basically you have an index.ts file where you will effectively export all of the surrounding components inside of this folder. So to make this easy as possible, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of the components in, and then we're going to go through one by one, and I'm going to explain. Now, I'm not going to spend so long here because I want to just high level functionally tell you, then you can take your time, look at the code yourself, analyze it, whatever you want to do. So let's pop it in. And as you can see, what it's doing now is these are now basically reachable from that UI. Oops, no. And this will go away, this error. There you go. Okay. So all of the code is available in the GitHub. All you got to do is just go down below, fill out the form. We send it to you in the email. Okay. Now let's go through each one. So first up, the summary header. I'm going to go through it like this is easier. My summary header. We've got a few unused components. Get rid of those. So it takes the SEO report. And again, why is this so powerful, guys? Because it's strongly typed. Look how easy it is. And this is where, yes, vibe coding will be powerful as hell because it's got the constraint. It knows the shape of what it can use and what it can't use. Or it knows exactly what is there because we Zod validated everything. At this point, you can go ahead and explain what you want to have, and then it will literally like produce out, produce everything here. So you guys see for yourself. Looking for the code for this build. Jay, if you just share the link again and make it clearer in the description, saying looking for the code for this build. Oh, it is there. Oh yeah. So I mean, but separate them, Jay, because the Papa GitHub repo is the paid one with all of our builds, including this one. But this specific build we're giving for free. You just have to fill out your name and email and we'll send you it. Okay. But as you can see here, guys, we've got the SEO report, the very simple stuff, and then the badge, right? So just basically a UI thing. Go down to overall scorecard, same thing, takes the SEO report, formats the number. And what is it doing here to format the number? So if we were to look at the overall SEO scorecard, yep, so you see this number here. We're basically just going to go ahead and make it a bit nicer, and we're rounding it up, and we're saying if it's beneath 1, so sometimes it can come back with like 0.5 or 50. So if it came back with a value of 0.5, we just times it by 50, and then you get this kind of cool number effect. And then we've just styled it out. We've got a score gradient. If it's lower than 50, it'll be like a red and a yellow and that kind of thing. And then we basically just render it out and we format the number. Okay, so it's no different there. Key metrics card, again, same thing. Takes the SEO report and builds out this part. These parts are actually a lot easier to render out. It's just mapping through. Do we do a map here? We don't even do a map here. We just check if it's greater than 0. And it actually has some keywords with the total sources as well. More so, it's just a case of just rendering things out. And it's got the 4 cards. Here we are filtering through. So we go through all the source types, we filter through to make sure that they actually have, sources in them. And then it will go and map them out. Otherwise, it shouldn't show the sources, right? So in this case, these actually have sources connected to them. So in this case, yeah, you can see for yourself. So these sources, and if we go down here, we can see some of the sources. And again, you can see it hasn't actually listed out all of the sources down here. So you can go ahead and do that as well. So you can actually go ahead and create and be like, you know what, you have access to all the sources. Show me in one of these components, right? And then you can see we've got some compares and everything else as well, right? So that one's easy enough. The AI chat source distribution graph chart. This one is a bit more of the trickier one, because this one, we have a chart. Now the chart comes from Shadzian. So shout out to Shadzian again. We go to charts over at the top. Charts in Shadzian are powered by recharts, right? So if we go down here, firstly, if we just install this command, it will install everything else for us. And also you have to add the following colors to your CSS file. So let's do that right now. So let's import it. And then let's go to our globals. And let's go ahead and add in a base layer here. So actually we've already got that. So it's more in the root. We add in these colors. So where is our root? Yeah, root. Yep. Yeah. So you see all these, we've got the chart. So that's actually already got chart there. So I don't know if that changed it or if that kept it the same, but anyway. And then we've got dark as well. Chart, let's see. Let's say 376 is that last number. Let's see, 376. Okay, so I guess it's the same. Yeah, so I guess it's just done that. And then you got your chart. And then basically this will explain your chart structure and what it should be and the shape it should be. Now here you can see you've got it gives you all the rules and everything. Now you could do it two ways. You can read it, see how it uses data, and then apply it, or you can even go ahead and do Command Shift C, copy the URL inside. And let's just say you were to, I'm just hypothetically saying you were to vibe code this out. You could take your data source, and then when you do prompt it, you can go ahead and actually just pass in the chart, and then you can say, using the documentation, how would I shape my data to the point that it can be read by the chart? So you see what I mean? So sometimes it can just save you a lot of time. Like, yes, you should check the effects of it, but basically here we take the source types, we go ahead and we basically will shape them into the correct way. So in this case, we're filtering through any sources that don't have any sources under them, and then we're mapping it to the shape that is required, which is name, value, and color. And we have a palette of colors as well, yeah. And then it's randomly, I think, picking the colors. And then it will just render out. And as you can see here, we've got the pie chart, and it expects the data in that way. So in this case, that's why we prepared it above. So, and we've even got some calculations here as well. So yeah, this part, I definitely did get AI to help. But yeah, have I done this before many times? Yes, I have. Right. But this is where I would say it comes in handy. Like, to save you a bit of time, a bit of headache, you can absolutely use this, right? So in this case, I wanted a pie chart. So I explained everything, and then bam, we have a beautiful pie chart. Okay. So very clean. Same for competitor strength. Takes a SEO report and again just renders out some UI. You have all of this code in your stuff. Same thing for recommendations card. These ones are very simple, to be fair, because these ones are just effectively presentational. Okay, so these ones literally just render out UI blocks, keyword analysis grid, same thing. All of them take the SEO report and then just go ahead and do that. I've seen it before where people make the mistake of putting use query in every single one of these. You do not want to do that, because obviously you will then go ahead and render out each one, make API calls from each one, unless the tan stack call has, prevents that, but it could not maybe prevent that. And then you have tons of API calls. So let's go ahead and check something now. So we have AI chat, which is not available. Okay. So what I want to do right now is let's create the AI chat. So firstly, let's view the full report. Let's go ahead and hide that. Let's go here. And for now, let's just pop in something which says AI chat. Okay. So now if we were to go to our page, oops, what have I done there? Yeah, let's go to the full report page, and you can see loading SEO report. Bam, Apple popped in, and look, hey, we have our beautiful pop-up, right? And this, oh no, this is live? Oh yeah, the fallback card is there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so the fallback card is perfect. It's there, looks great, matches our theming, looks really nice as well. And also look, it's responsive on mobile, so it's very nice. Yeah, so that's cool. And then obviously, if let's just say I change this pro plan, so they would think I'm not part of this plan. Then, if I was pro, am I pro on this account? Let's have a look. I think I'm not pro, so let's get upgrade to pro. That takes me to the pricing page, which I didn't finish, by the way. I need to fix that. So let's switch to the pro plan. So I'm going to upgrade to the pro plan, pay the difference. We are on a test card, don't worry. I had to just double check for a sec. Continue. And then let's go back to our page. So this one here, full report. And now you can see we get the AI chat. So can you see that, right? So it changes it, so which is awesome. Like, I absolutely love that, right? So it actually works perfectly the way we wanted it. So you can see 9 out of 100, and then you can see the AI chat would render. So our goal is to now build that AI chat. So let's do it. So AI chat, how are we going to do this? So in our components, we need to build this component. So render this down, components, AI chat.tsx, right? I'd personally have improvement sessions based on keyword plan Google Trends to suggest better SEO data as a pro or pro. Yeah, 100%, Rick. I completely agree with. Wow, I almost knocked my water over. I completely agree with you. I wanted to give you the tools to know how to gate things off, and then from there, you guys can feel free to run with it. But I'm so glad that I'm getting suggestions. I like this kind of chat, because this is the ultimate goal of live streams like this. to give you the tools, and then you come up with ideas. I would do it this way. I would do it that way. That's what we want. It's awesome, right? The AI chat component. Let's do it. Now this one, yeah, I say it again and again, they get bigger. So this one takes the SEO report ID. It is a client component. Now, firstly, what is this? No, I agree with you, Rick. 100% makes sense what you're saying, yeah? So in this case, that pop up. So we need to build this effectively, right? And when we chat to it, this is going to hit an API route for us, right? And also we need to kind of go ahead and do that whole streaming and all of that. How do we do that? All right, so I'll show you how we do it all. So a couple of things we're going to do. Firstly, let's go ahead and import what we need. So we have most of our dependencies except React Markdown and Remark GFM. So let's go ahead and install pm add Remark, React Markdown, and also let's do this one, Remark GFM. And we have those popping in. There we go. Yep. And then there's also typography, which we're going to need for another element. So if we go to globals, what you'll see at the top of globals is we have a few imports. I'm going to have a plugin called tailwind typography. We need to import, install that pm add tailwind typography. Yeah. You see how it adds that as well. And now that will inject typography into our app. And there you go. We've got our stuff because we're going to need to do a few things with that. And then we're going to have a few bits of state that we need to prepare ourselves for. So we're going to have use state, use chat. This is from Vercel AI SDK, right? Now, by default, the endpoint that this will try to find is API/chat. I believe it's that one. I'll check in a minute. It's API/chat. Yeah. So by default, it will try to go there. Okay. And then of course we've got messages, send messages, and status, right? And then we've got the rest of stuff. Now we're going to have a scroll to bottom function, which is going to help us, every time a message changes. I'll show you all of that afterwards. Now let's build the chat widget itself. Now the chat widget is expanded, set as expanded, is responsible for this. Is it expanded? Not is it expanded? It's just a click. If you click it, it opens that UI. If you get rid of it, it gets rid of it. Simple as that. Now, the main thing happens with the logic of how the chat actually comes out, right? So I'm going to pop the entire part in here and we're going to walk through the entire thing together instead of doing this because I need to show you more so the AI route handler. That's more important here. So what I'm going to do here firstly is we have is typing, handle submit, a bunch of stuff here. So firstly, we'll go through all of this. Don't worry. We need a few helping things. So is typing is going to be if the status here is submitted. That means that it's just submitted, we just submitted, and it's now going to go ahead and figure out what's going on. We're going to have 3 helper functions, which we're going to use now here. We have a use effect, which will scroll to the bottom every time the messages change. That's why it scrolls down automatically. There are ways to do that. I'm not going to go into them too much, but that is effectively it. All that is doing is the messages end ref is just a div with a ref attached to it. And at the bottom of your messages that are rendered out, it will just go ahead and basically have a reference to it. And then it'll say scroll into view every time the messages change. So it'll basically scroll to the bottom because it's at the bottom of the messages. That's a little trick, huh? Handle submit. All this is doing is it's sending a message to the Vercel AI SDK, which is literally built to help make chat easier. Okay. Now, with that, we actually have this, right? So we can actually go ahead and say, for example, hi. But you see, hello, nothing happens. That's a shame. If we go ahead and see this, look, 404 not found. If we go into the network tab, you'll see, hello, chat. It tries to make a request to API/chat. And you can see the payload, the messages, the type, and all the role, the user, everything. So you see what Vercel AI SDK is doing. And this effectively is what we're going to try, or what we're going to do now, and basically hook it up to its brains effectively, right? So, hello, you see nothing is happening. So we need to basically make it respond to us. And then I'll explain all of the bottom bit as well. Okay. So let's do that. So we need to create that route handler. So we're going to go into app, API. It doesn't need to be an API folder, by the way. That's a common misconception, but you don't need that. So we're going to do route.ts. That's all it's really looking for is a route. So that'll represent API/chat. And here we create a post request. So a post request like so. Okay. Now above, we're going to have a few things set up in advance. So we've already got all of our dependencies. You're going to need these things. Allow streaming responses up to 30 seconds. This, if you export this, it will tell Next.js that this is the max duration for which this route handler can last is 30 seconds, and then terminate and say it took too long, right? So you can go ahead and add little fail safes like that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check Convex URL. So we have our Convex client that we can make calls to. Now, first thing we need to do is get the user's details. Now, because we're making an endpoint call, Clerk are wicked because they give us the auth object. So we can basically go ahead and do that. So we go ahead and actually have the auth like so. And then what we want to do is get the messages and the ID from the payload. Remember, I showed you the payload. So here, when we did network tab, and I typed in hi and hello, you can see here, like, oh, it's actually hit the endpoint now, but it just nothing returned. You can see messages with all the different parts and everything else, right? So how do we get that to do what we need it to do? So we get the messages from the payload, like so. Step one, we get the SEO report from the database, okay? And then we have a system prompt, okay? So let's do that. So step one, get the SEO report from the database. Step two, let's step it out. So say step one, get SEO report. Step two, build the system prompt. Now here, what we're doing effectively is we're saying you're an AI assistant helping users understand the SEO report, provide helpful insights and answer questions, blah, 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 okay? And then we're going to have a if statement. Now, actually, do we even use? No, we completely rewrote this. So we don't actually even need this yet. I'll show you why in a moment. I just realized, yeah. So we're going to have an if ID. So if an ID was present, so if ID, then what we're going to say effectively means if there's a message, then we're going to have a try catch. Right, so we're going to try catch block, and firstly, let's address the catch. If anything went wrong, then we're going to have a system prompt. Oh, sorry, no, it is the case. Yeah, okay. No, I mean, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to say let system prompt. Yeah, so we will start with this. And then we're reassigning, and at the end we make the call. That's what I did. Okay, fair enough. I was wondering why was my decision for that? We have system prompt here. Okay, so then with the try, what we're going to do is here effectively. Firstly, we're going to get the job because we need the details about the SEO report to basically do anything, right? So we're going to get the job, and this will give us back the SEO report. Okay, if there is an SEO report, then we need to go ahead and do the following. So I'll push in, explain here. So we get the job. If there was a job now, so look at this part. So I think, let me try and just indent this so you can see. Yeah, that's better. So yeah. So if there's an SEO report, get the SEO report there, and then we're going to have the system prompt be replaced with that. Instead with your AI assistant, you can even append it. I mean, yeah, you can append it. It's fine. You could just do that, right? But you're an AI assistant, current SEO report data, bam. We pass the entire data in. You can have access to comprehensive SEO analysis data for the entity name and also the entity type. So it will be like, entity name will be like Sonny Sangha, entity type would become person. If it was like Papa Farm, it could be community. If it was iPhone, it could be, if the entity name was iPhone, it could be device, for example, right? Key areas to help you with. We've given it some stuff. Use the web search tool to answer questions about the SEO report. Golden, because now we are an AI agent because it has a tool. I'm doing AI agent stuff, right? And then basically just giving it a nice system prompt to basically make sure it can give us back something useful. Okay. This system prompt is assigned a value, but I've used. Okay, that's fine. So after that is where we do our main call. So after this, we have a system prompt, right? Now, what we then do is we make a call to stream text. So This is a handy function provided by Vercel AI SDK. If you look here, generate text call tools for a given prompt using a language model. The function streams the output, right? If you don't want to stream it, you can use generate text. So here we pass the model. Again, we're using 4.0. You can change the model if you want. We have the messages, convert to model messages. So this basically just converts the messages from the user into the model's messages, because if you're using Claude, it could be a different shape and so forth. And then we have our system prompt. And then here's the cool part. We have tools. Now web search, we use OpenAI's tools, web search, and then we've set the search context high. Now, you can even do a bunch of other tools, really. So if you do, let's just look here. If you do .tools, .code interpreter, file search, image generation, web search, all of that can be done here, right? Web search preview as well. There you go. With source. Yeah, with source. That's both, yeah. So that's deprecated. Yeah, but this one here. So that's really nice, right? So just OpenAI already gives you a bunch of tools. And again, MCP servers is effectively, this is where it would do its thing. So an MCP server effectively is injecting tools into your how do we say it? Your LLM's ability to use it. Basically, it's injecting tools into your LLM, which means that you're just like now we gave it the web search tool. If I connect it to BrightData's MCP server, I will get all of the abilities to basically be able to scrape data and this and that. And that's really damn powerful, because it's effectively an interface which allows our LLMs to speak to any API, which is awesome, right? Even Convex, I used the MCP. And when I was debugging my code, I can say, can you just go and check the database right now? So you typically say, you add your MCP, and then in the MCP, because you typically use MCPs on IDEs like Cursor, Windsurf, and these things, you say authorize the Convex MCP, and then it went ahead and it would go ahead and prompt me the steps to give it an authentication token. Once it has that, I can literally be like, if I gave it a Slack one, I could be like, once you finish the work, message Jay that you're finished. And it will literally, once it finishes a bunch of work, it will go and message Jay, I finished with the job. So absolutely cool, right? We have the tools here, and then that is basically what we need. And then we return to UI message stream response. And just like that, we have something pretty damn cool. Are you ready, guys? Let's go ahead and see if it works. So we are a pro member, which means we get access to this. Let's go here and let's go, hello. And AI is thinking, wait for it. Hey, there we go. And now let's test it out. Does it have context of this, right? Does it know what this is? What's my SEO score? And obviously we know the SEO score. Yeah, over SEO score is 90, right? Okay, cool. Let's see what's down here. So action recommendations. Okay, so let's go ahead and do, let's go to a really interesting one. So where have I got? So that one's still scraping. All right, fine. So we can, we can come back. That's why you need to build it as an async system, because some stuff might take long. This is why this is a really good example for it, because you can set it up so you get an email, for example, when your scraping job's done. So in this case, let's do critical issues, right? So explain my critical, explain any issues I may face. Right, so I'm being super generic on purpose. All right, so in this case, engagement, right? Educational engagement gaps. It can then go, there might be an opportunity to enhance engagement with educational content, blah, 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 right? So in this case, for example, okay, educational engagement gaps. So in this case, say, for example, that, right? If I wanted to say, you know what, find competitors in the similar space, because this is for Apple, and see what they're doing, right, to fix this. So now I've given it a bit bigger question. So in this case, I would expect it to search the web. So now it searches the web, finishes the web search, and then it finds everything that it can go ahead and do. And yes, you can use any model here. You can change it to be Gemini, Claude. Just know that tool calling can be different in different models. And also remember, depending on which model you use, some things could be too complex for it to process. So the model you use has a direct impact on the quality of the output as well, right? So look at that. There you go. Samsung collaborates with this, blah, 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 blah. And then you can see Microsoft. It says Microsoft didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, Jay just sent me a screenshot saying Clerk Billing is too good. And he's actually just gone ahead and showed me that Clerk Billing actually send you a really nice invoice with the payment details and everything. It's absolutely awesome, right? But you guys can see that is absolutely sick. So that is an AI agent right there. Now, how is this rendering out? We forgot to talk about it, right? So if we go over here now, we can see, let's go back to our AI chat. Now, this is the bit where I said I'll come back to it. With the chat widget, this bit is self-explanatory effectively, right? The messages, here's the interesting part. Messages.map. We map through all the messages, and then here we've just got some style rules, and then you got message.parts.map. And then here, if part.type is tool web search. Now, if you're ever wondering, how do I know which one's called what? Well, firstly, there are some type safe ways of doing this now. So if you'll see in Vercel AI SDK v5, which just released recently, they actually have a new introduction with a redesigned chat. Oops, sorry guys. They have a redesigned chat where if we go here, you can see that they have the, I mean, you can do unfinished or after something is done, how to handle things like save to database, whatever. Customizable UI messages, a bunch of stuff. So what was it that I found very useful here was, I think, so tools. So oh no, so that's passing. You can pass metadata down, but I think it was called type safe tool invocations. So here we have it. So AI SDK 5 builds on the foundation. So here you can see, look, tool.-get weather and so forth, right? And these are actually going to be type safe, okay? And you see it in my UI message and so forth. So here, I'm not going to jump into this today, but just know that you can do this, okay? And it can be type safe. Right now, it's a case of I just was able to very simply go ahead and do console log part.type, quick debug, see what the tool is called, and I proceeded forward. Okay. Now this one has input streaming, input available, output available. Basically, I wanted to tap into when it starts its call. So this is when it's searching, and when output is available, that's when it's technically finished. Right. And if it failed for whatever reason, we say web search failed. Right now, if it's text, it means it's replying, it's streaming. So here, what I done is, I went ahead and did leading relax, which gives it a nicer UI. And we got the React Markdown. Now, React Markdown typically doesn't have all this. It doesn't have all of this. It's just kind of like that in the documentation. Now, if we left it like that, what you end up with is a UI which looks something like this. So if I was to hit save, you'll end up with something like, if I was to refresh this now, and obviously you can persist the chat if you wanted to by using Convex, real time, and all that kind of stuff. But here, let's go ahead and do hi or hello. And let's just give it an internet question. So say, I don't know, search internet for similar competitors. And obviously you can add railguards here to be able to don't answer anything else besides the questions. And that's effectively what will need to be done. So now you can see, look, it's doing that, but it doesn't look as good as what it was looking at before. So this has got the plugin to basically kind of handle like, you know, bullet points and stuff. But really what I've done here is, and this is a bit tedious, but I basically said for each component, I want to style it in a certain way. Now, if I do that, that's a bit nicer now. Right. So in this case, you see, I've done list components a certain way. And I've even said for any link, I want it to be like so, right? So it's going to basically render out as a purple underlined link. So that's a lot cleaner now, right? Heading back down, we've effectively got the typing indicator where when it's typing, it's going to go ahead and, you know, AI is thinking and so forth. So yeah, it's pretty damn cool, right? And all we're doing is when we submit, we're just using the send message from Vercel AI SDK. So if you're using a chatbot or any kind of chatbot instance, Vercel AI SDK is clean as hell. I've done it using LangChain, done it using LangGraph, all that stuff. This is now the cleanest, easiest way, in my opinion. It's super, super slick, right? Son of Code, Danny Zyked, what's up, guys? And Gabriel's, oh yeah, I was just reading the messages. Yeah, what's up? All right, guys. So with that being said, pretty damn cool. 3 hours 35. I think we're literally at the point where we can deploy, and then we are golden. I told Jay I would beat this one in terms of getting it done right. Sorry. So I want to mention as well, there are some key points to take away from this. Here, remember, it's very important that the data that we scraped, right? Remember, we scraped a bunch of data here. when we did that scraping job, so is that one, okay, so that one's still scraping. I think I retried the bad one. So let's get rid of this job and kill this job. Let's do, for example, Sonny, Sangha again. Let's do a UK, maybe. I don't know, maybe different. Let's do, and again, I can run these in parallel. I can say Papa Farm. Let's do generate report. I could do Elon Musk. These are all people. I could do a Tesla Model X, generate a report on that as well. And you can see this is pretty quick, right? It's damn awesome, right? Like now you can see I've got all these reports in the background, asynchronously working on their own scheduled time, everything getting real time updated, and bam, clean as hell, right? So nice, right? Obviously, and if I was to do this in production, I would have, maybe a sidebar or some kind of, make use of the full space. But yeah, like, I mean, not some kind of maybe dashboard or something, but this is, again, more tech demo focused. I want to show you the sort of possibilities of what you can do, right? And of course, we've got our landing page, right? Now, again, the pricing page was the only one I didn't show you. Pricing page, fairly easy to honestly style up. I'll show you very quickly what we can do with the pricing page before we head to a deployment. Pricing page, you guys will laugh. Compared to the rest of the app, it's super easy. Oops, not that. Pricing page, sorry, him. So literally, it's a bit of styling here. So we've got a hero section, we've got the pricing table, and we just slap a pricing table there, right? And there you go. Immediately, it looks pretty damn clean, right? And obviously, you can customize it however you wish and all that stuff. So, yeah, what's up, Miles? Good to see you. Yeah. So as you can see, obviously, this is Clerk Billing in action. Remember, guys, they're just going to be adding to this, right? So it's really, really going to be more and more and more powerful. It's going to be awesome, right? Now, here, I want to run through. Remember, we were using BrightData. So I want to run through that one more time. BrightData, very, very important to mention that obviously we're using the Perplexity search, right? Now, Perplexity search, again, as I mentioned before, it's more referring to generative engine optimization, where, again, it's optimizing content. We're pulling from Perplexity, which is more so optimizing content, so it's understood and leveraged by AI-powered search engines. So that's effectively what Perplexity is doing. If you wanted to maybe get more depth in something like an SEO, a task I challenge you all to, and I really would hope you take it away, you build, is go onto the web scrapers. And again, you can sign up to BrightData for free. All right, go into the web scrapers and go to the SERP scraper. So search engine scraper. So this one's SERP. Google, Bing, Yandex, and so forth. Click on get started. And then as you can see, you can go ahead and set this one up. This one is going to be really cool, right? I think I'm in some weird edge case where I've got a few windows open right now. Oh yeah, see, there you go. So I've logged myself out. So in this, well, maybe it kicked me out. I don't know. Who knows? But the point is that is what I would effectively recommend doing. Okay. So use the SERP scraper. Why do I recommend you use the SERP scraper? Because it's going to allow you to then go ahead and get, Google's data, which is typically what a lot of companies have used for the longest time to get SEO report generation. So you would have an edge by combining the SERP with the Perplexity stuff that we just used. And they also had 6 others, right, on the AI side. So you can use all of those as well. So cool. With that in mind, now I want to go ahead and do a deployment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type in Vercel. I'm going to do Vercel log out for a second because I believe I'm in a different account. So now we're going to do Vercel. I've got the CLI, by the way, already logged in. So in this case, I'm going to do continue with, I think it's my Google account. Let's do Vercel. I've got so many accounts. Let's do something. I'm sure it's this one. Yeah. And then you go CLI success and then set up and deploy. So in this case, bam, and I've got the Vercel CLI installed. All you'd have to do is type in Vercel CLI. Sonny Sangha's projects, yes. Link to existing project, no. What's your project name? BrightData, SEO, YouTube, SaaS. Cool. And yep, nope. Just enter. Okay. Do you want to change additional projects? That's interesting. I haven't actually done that one before, but this will fail initially, right? Because there's a few reasons why this will fail. So inspect, let's do it. So we can go to inspect. Now again, right now, if we're here, we go to BrightData, SEO, YouTube, SaaS, settings, and go to our environment variables. firstly, remember, if I was to paste all my environment variables here, it's worth mentioning that I'm going to go into my EMB. I'm going to hide my screen because I've got keys in there. So I'm grabbing all my keys. I'm copying them. I'm closing my file. I'm going back to that page. And then when I'm on this page, I'm going to paste. I'm going to check that they don't expose my key. So, oh, interesting. Vercel just launched a, there you go. That kind of gives you a middle ground. So Vercel just launched the AI agent as well. Nice. That's pretty cool. Everyone's on the agent flex, right? So in this case, I pasted it in, and then I'm going to go down to the save button. I'm telling you because I don't want you to see a key. And now I've saved it. Now, cool. Now again, next public convex URL. This is pointing to a development convex URL. It depends on how you want to do this now. These are all environments. You can see convex deployment is dev, next public convex site URL, next publishable key and so forth. This is all dev. What you would do is when you add the value, you'll make sure you do production, and then you will change your environments accordingly. So how would you do this? Well, in Convex, and I teach all of this inside of 0 to Full Stack Hero. But basically, if you go here, go into settings, you can see here, if we were in, for example, environment variables, when I was in if I go to the production environment, you see provisioning your production environment. Give that a moment, see production. And then we go settings. And as you can see, this is different now. But if we were to go to environment variables, you see we don't have them. So what I would recommend you do is you set up different keys here, which match the same key, not the value, but the key. You need a Clerk JWT issue a domain from your Clerk production, OpenAI from maybe a production Clerk key. And then what you do is you apply those keys here. And then that way on your development instances, you push to dev. And then on the production instances, it pushes over there, right? So right now that one was expected to fail. So let's have a look. Yep, that one fixed. Yeah, exactly. And that actually failed for another reason. So that failed because of this. So you can see here, it failed because of this, which is very simple. Line 33. This, right? Escape. There you go. Bam. Right. Also here. So we've got it there. We can even do it if you want to do it locally. You can do a Vercel build. And then it can go and do that accordingly. And also, depending on, let's say, for example, right now we're in development environment, I could do Vercel env pull. And what that will do is it will pull my env local. It will pull the Vercel development environment variables into my local. So this is how you do it in production, in case you're wondering, like how you would do it in a real setting. And of course, like I say, I'd cover this stuff inside of 0 to Full Stack Hero. Okay. Now, okay, let's do a Vercel deployment. We're going to keep it in the development settings for now because we just want to wrap up nicely, have a good test. Something will fail, and I was ready for this to fail. Can't remember what will fail. We'll see for ourselves though. But yeah, something's going to fail. It's the yep, I know what's going to fail. So it's going to be no, it's not going to actually fail because it's still pointing to dev. So what I thought would have failed would have been the function URL. So you see this one, accomplish go hawk. Well, right now, if we go into our, you see this, yeah, here, HTTP actions URL. Oh, yeah, by the way, guys, this is it. This is available as Convex site URL. So that's the one that will be /web /API/webhook. So if you do want to access that, now you know you can do it by Convex site URL. But right now it won't fail. But obviously, if we were to do it on production, it will change. That URL will change. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. Right now, I don't know. Is this one going to be on? Yeah. So we're using the development. Yeah, that's fine. If you did the local, the beta one, by the way, it would have come here, right? Cool. Or if you got team members, that's where this come up, right? So now let's see how it's doing it. So let's go to our inspect. And you can see, I'm logged in as a different account. Okay. And you can see that deployed. Deployment complete. Okay, let's check it out. I'm doing it on an authenticated because we're on a preview branch, which is awesome. Thing I like about it. Vercel. So let's go here, make it bright mode, and let's do generate report. Let's continue with Google. We already have a profile, so we should be a pro already. Let's go ahead and check it out. And Clerk Billing, we can check all of these out very nicely. So I'm here, I can see my database. Awesome stuff, great. Let's go into manage account, billing. I can see I'm a pro, that's cool. I can switch plans in here if I want to. I can go ahead and see if I manage it, I can see my subscriptions, my statements, my payments I've made, awesome stuff. I can change things if I need to. Tesla Model X, I got my report, that's awesome. Let's have a look. Boom, this is live right now. 85, there we go. That's pretty cool. Audi e-tron, compare. We can see, look, leverage high authority official content. Enhance visibility by optimizing content of the official Model X page to dominate electric SUV. Okay, so you can see critical issues, a few things. It didn't find backlink sources, so could be something to improve on. Here, let's go and say hi. Why not a score of 100? Throw a little curveball, right? Is 85 out of 100 because it didn't have a backlink profile. It didn't have content. It had content gaps, competitive positioning. Say who's my, or let's just say list 10 competitors, 10 competitors. Okay. And then you can see that it gives these ones, and it actually probably knew this in its own training. So if it knew it in the training, it could probably do it. I can say according to 2025. And now it will search the web because it needs to know actually what is the latest, you know. And if you know about electric cars, you know that's pretty spot on actually. Rivian R1, a few others as well. So that's pretty damn cool, right? And it did that really fast and really well, right? So in that case, there you go, guys. Works amazingly well. Deployment. If you would want to promote that to develop to production, what you would then do is you can either do it in the panel. So you can either do it here by going ahead and pressing promote to production, or when you do your Vercel command, you can do Vercel -- prod, and that will push to prod. I'm not going to do that right now because that one's going to get hammered otherwise, but you can use a CI/CD pipeline. So right now, if you were to push a get branch, for example, it would spin up a preview branch automatically so you can test it out. We do it in-house in our software house. It's pretty damn cool. I think on that note, guys, we actually just smashed through that entire build. I'm so happy. That was a huge build. Jay knows exactly how happy I am. I'm going to go ahead and do it the only way we know how, guys. We absolutely destroyed that build. It was incredible. We done the entire thing. We built an awesome SEO platform with full payments, an entire SaaS platform, can generate SEO reports. And the main thing here is you learned so much, guys. We had full functionality, we had scheduling, we had retry mechanisms, we had all of this stuff intact, you know, all of this real-time functionality where we literally real-time update here, you know, all of the minor things like the dark mode, all this kind of stuff. We had AI in the mix fully. Oh, it's my birthday on Saturday. Thank you, guys. Yeah, on 27th. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember, all of the code is available in the description. Just go ahead, pop in your name and your email, and I'm sending it out to you ASAP. You can go ahead and literally pop in your name and email. We'll send you the entire code base for free. Learn as much as you need to. Go ahead and make sure, all I ask is that you share this video, you smash that like button, and you go ahead and use the links in the description because it allows me to do stuff like this for absolutely free for you guys, which I absolutely love. Make sure you go ahead and check out BrightData through the links. Make sure you go check out Clerk through the links and check out Convex as well. And as always, guys, it's your boy Sonny, aka Papa React, the last video of my 30-year-old reign. So Saturday 31. So next time you guys see me, I'll be a year older. It's pretty cool. All right, guys. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you so much. I see Sonic Code, Mina Lee. I appreciate you guys. I can't cut you off when you guys are saying happy birthday. That's too nice of you guys. I just want to go ahead and show one more thing before I do that. And I'll let everyone's messages come in because it's a nice way to end it. We ended it in solid timing, 3 hours 53. And yeah, absolutely awesome stuff. Tell me right now as well, what was your favorite part of the build? Just I'm curious as hell. And as I mentioned, if you go ahead and do this, we'll go ahead and send you the entire code base so you guys can feel free to do it all yourself. I've literally wrote out all of this so you have all of the instructions, everything that you would need. And also make sure you go ahead and star the repo as well. Yeah. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Ciao. Peace.